Thank you so much, Dr. Ravi Gupta, for the wonderful moderation. Thank you to all the speakers for sharing your views and valuable thoughts. Our next panel discussion is on digital transformation and future of governance. This session will be moderated by Mr. Karthik Sharma, Associate Editor, Elit's Technomedia Private Limited. Over to you, Karthik.
Thank you so much. And I welcome all of you in the very important session on a very important issue in the event Digital Governance State Roadshow, Uttar Pradesh. And as mentioned, the topic of the discussion is digital transformation and future of governance. And when we talk of digital and governance, uh, it goes hand in hand, and at the same time we have industry leaders and government leaders who are playing key role in digital transformation in the state of Uttar Pradesh. And to start the discussion, I will first request to give the initial remarks, and I request all the panelists to please stick to 2 to 3 minute initial remarks, so that we can have send second round of questions also, and there'll be some questions from audience also then. So if we stick to time, then we'll have a better discussion. So I request Shri Kumar Vineet, who is Special Secretary in Department of IT and Electronics, and who is also Managing Director of Uttar Pradesh Development Systems Corporation Limited, UP-DESCO, in Government of Uttar Pradesh, to please address. And I would like to request him to, throw some light on that, how with digitization, when it takes the center stage, especially after the COVID pandemic, how is the Department of IT in Uttar Pradesh is creating a robust IT infrastructure in the state? Please throw some light on that and on initial remarks, Shri Kumar Vineet, please.
Thank you, Karthik. Thank you, Arpit, for inviting me to this session. And it is really very interesting for me to be a part of this process, because after doing my engineering some 25 years back in the services, I have come back again to the IT sector, and that has really been very interesting. And the most important part was that cyber security, the part I had just done a course some 6 years back from King's College London under perhaps you know Professor Thomas Reid. So that was really very interesting, that now I have joined a department in which I'm going to work, and my mentor of that part, Dr. Heera Lal, is also there to listen to me. Well, as we have been discussing in the morning session as well, and a presentation was done by ACS IT about the verticals that IT department has already taken up. The most important part is that what has been our reaction in the time of pandemic. Well, pandemic has been an opportunity. Once in a situation like this arises, say once in 100 years. Similarly, the situation of pandemic or corona occurred in India also, as it happened in so many parts of the world. So we have been very, very keen as a department and as a government to get into this opportunity and seize it and build our platform like anything. We have handled COVID-19 response in Uttar Pradesh on a multifarious activities, and this has helped us translate so many activities on IT platform. And as you can say, the Internet of Things are coming. We are now banking upon the artificial intelligence and its inputs as well in our different verticals of different departments, all the 73 included. Well, to share a few, instead of physical meetings, which were costlier also, and things were happening, we had video conferences. In health department, basically in health department, in CM helpline, as you can understand, and that was discussed in and it is there for you to see also. Uttar Pradesh has definitely been a front runner in this particular field, just by using the inbound and outbound activities through multifarious parts, like health activity, like COVID response, like migrant laborers, like various schemes and its feedback, one-to-one feedback. Even if the technology part at the end user is only a small mobile or telephone, which is not that tech savvy, even then this technology interface has allowed the government to have an interface with the people. The government to people module and initiative has been taken through this CM helpline. Then we have entered into another part as well in a very big way, that is transparency. E-tender has been a very, very important issue through which we have got into this field and we have really excelled into it. We have integrated our Arog Setu also through the Government of India Arog Setu app, the different verticals which were there. We've got it through the CM helpline. Instead of having just through a mobile information network, we have also developed a call center through incoming as well as outbound calls, and we have got into it. Now we are getting into the education part as well. Certain issues are definitely going to come up, and we are working on it, how well we can get into the education part. Just recently, we have come up with the idea of the entire Kaushal Vikas Mission department coming on the IT platform, on the digitization platform. We are using the UIDAI and taking it to abstract it and how well we can use the IT platform on that part as well. Well, the common service centers, as you know, have been a very big success in UP. Every Gram Panchayat we are catering to that there should be at least 2 village level entrepreneurs in every village so that we can enter into it. Simultaneously, the data center policy is coming up in a very big way. UP has been the first state in India to come out with this data center policy in this era of pandemic, and just recently we have come out. And we propose to attract at least 40,000 crores of investment through this data center policy. We already have a 10,000 crore initial interest shown by major stalwarts in this particular field. In fact, ACO Noida is also here, and we are going to, one of the data center is already coming up in a very big way over there. So these are all the different verticals on which we have been working on. In this part of pandemic, this has been a blessing in disguise for IT department of Uttar Pradesh. And thank you so much that we have been able to communicate to the entire scenario that we can definitely work on it. And in days to come, yes, IT department is going to come up with this data center policy, the manufacturing policy, and the startup policy in a very big way. And results are definitely going to come, say, June onwards of July onwards. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar Vineet, and for throwing light on the IT initiatives, what your department is doing in Uttar Pradesh. And you also spoke about healthcare and how you're innovating in the state of Uttar Pradesh is innovating in healthcare. So we have here with us Additional Mission Director of National Health Mission of Uttar Pradesh, Dr. Heera Lal, a very renowned personality and very famous and popular for his innovations, what he does in whichever department he is. Dr. Heera Lal, welcome. And I would like to ask you, sir, that how do you see the future of governance? How do you see it redefines after COVID-19, and especially how in public health digitization is, changing the picture in the state of Uttar Pradesh? Dr. Heera Lal.
Thank you for this opportunity. And Mr. Bineet has given a good brief about the IT digitization of UP government. 2-3 points I would like to touch. Security point. Security, we come across different incidents time to time globally. So security is the biggest challenge in the digitization. हम कहते हैं ना कि आंख मूंद के हमें डिजिटाइजेशन नहीं करना है, but we will have to digitize cautiously, otherwise it will create havoc. So security concern is not in focus so far, though we are working and we are doing gradually, but it needs more focus. Second thing, 4-5 days ago, I was attending a webinar. So there was a ex-planning commission member, Mr. Arun Meria. He has written many books. So he told one thing, and I was very impressed, and I would like to mention over here. In digitization, we should follow enabling technology rather than replacing technology. Carless driver, carless train, क्या mindless hotel, mindless restaurant, I do not agree with this, we need the technology which enable the working condition to improve the impact and effect. Otherwise, unemployment will damage our all the progress. So the digitization should have a balance between both. So, in my opinion, digitization doesn't mean replacing the human being by technology like mindless uh, driverless car, mindless hotels. No, we need technology which enable them to improve their efficiency. Third thing, COVID-19 has proved and it provided us opportunity to practice how to use the technology, so the hitch is being removed in each and every part of activity departments and actions. But that was in compulsion. That situation was due to COVID compulsion. Now we are going to adopt the digitization not in compulsion but as a desire. So both the situations are different. So we will have to consider these two situations so that we can get a success. So these 3 points I wanted to highlight in your this talk.
Thank you, Dr. Heera Lal. We have noted these 3 points, and we'll come back to you with the more questions. And before that, I request the next speaker to please take the mic and introduce himself and share his views and valuable thoughts. Also spoke about the data center implementation at your side, Ms. Neha. Please tell us about what technology tools are being used for ambitious projects like Saraswati High Tech City, Trans Ganga City, Plastic City, and Trans Delhi Signature City. So please throw some light on these initiatives and share your views, please.
Uh, Hello, Karthik, and thank you for having me over here. Uh, it's a pleasure. So, basically, I would want to talk about what UPSIDA does because a lot of people do not know what UPSIDA is because erstwhile it was known as UPSIDC. Now, UPSIDC or UPSIDA as we call it is UP State Industrial Development Authority, and it is at the likes of Noida and Greater Noida Industrial Development Authority. So we are working under the ambit of the Industrial Development Act of 1976 of Uttar Pradesh. So we, as an industrial development authority, have around 154 industrial areas. We have 16 regional offices. So we have a reach throughout UP, and we have land banks and developed industrial areas where we operate. And as a part of that, there is a lot of work which is required because our interface is with the people, the industrialists who would want to set up their establishment in one of our developed areas. So basically, we provide them the infrastructure and post allotment services, and we give our land at a 90-year of lease. So, so the presentation is basically on the digital reforms which have been initiated in the past 1 year per se in UPSIDA. So I would want to bring to everybody's notice that before 31st of March 2020, there were only two services which were available on Nivesh Mitra portal. That is land allotment and building plan approval. So just a word about Nivesh Mitra. So Nivesh Mitra is the single window for all industrialists in UP. If you have to invest in UP, then you have to go to Nivesh Mitra. You can register as an entrepreneur. You can register. You can search for plots, and that does not include plots of only UPSIDA, but plots of Noida, Greater Noida. All the authorities are even Gorakhpur authority. Everything is there on the Nivesh Mitra platform, and it's a single window for all the clearances. So UPSIDA has integrated, and I think it is the authority which has the highest number of services on the Nivesh Mitra platform. So if you go one slide back, I'll be able to tell you that we have around 26 services which are up and running on the Nivesh Mitra portal and also on our website. So basically, after the allotment of a plot, if you want to execute the lease deed, you want to reconstitute. Suppose someone in your family decides to move out of the project, someone wants to come in, so there is a reconstitution of the company, and you might want to sublet, you might want to transfer the plot to someone else. So basically these are all land related transactions which need to be done. So earlier what used to happen is that our allottees had to visit the offices physically, and that, as you know, in government, visiting offices physically is the source of major corruption, or the impression that some corruption or some bribe would have behind the transaction. So even the perception, many a times the thing is actually not there, but the perception also matters a lot. So as an authority, UPCDA has implemented, we have just gone online. In 1 year, we have brought around 24 services on Nivesh Mitra and 2 on our legacy platform. So the allottee does not need to run to the offices of UPCDA to get these things done. Besides that, we have a full-fledged GIS platform on which an investor can search the plots. So we are using our GIS technology, and we have mapped out all the investment areas as Google polygons, and everybody can, any investor can see the list of vacant plots which are there on the website. And we primarily allot the plots via Nivesh Mitra, or we also have an e-auction platform. So that is the main IT initiatives which are going on in UPCDA. And internally, as you mentioned, the flagship projects, we use different technologies to manage internally. But I spoke basically on the customer end, because so now tomorrow you want to buy a plot, to lease out a plot in Trans Ganga City. So if you are from Kanpur or Lucknow, you would know that Trans Ganga City is there, and it is coming up in a big way. And you want to own a residential plot or a commercial shop or a small industry or a big industry. So you will not have to come to my office. You can directly visit Nivesh Mitra. In fact, right now as I'm speaking, small industrial plots are up on the Nivesh Mitra portal, and the person just has to submit the project report, and it's a faceless allotment. We do not call the person for an interview or a project presentation, and that is how the allotment is done for all the major projects also. That is from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Neha. We can see that a lot of innovations are happening in terms of attracting investors in the state, and online services at the doorsteps of the people. Thank you for that. And now I take one voice from industry, and I request Ms. Swapna Bapat, who is Senior Director for Data Analytics and Artificial Intelligence at Microsoft India, to kindly address and please throw some light on the role of Microsoft in upgrading the urban development in terms of technology and aiding cities to be greener, livable, and resilient, which is most important in this scenario of smart cities as government is looking for. So, Swapna, kindly address, please.
Thank you, Karthik. And first of all, I'd like to say it's an honor to be part of such a accomplished panel. So thank you for the opportunity. Microsoft is really proud to be working with various state and central government agencies on a lot of applications of technology to ease how our citizens interact with the government, as well as on their day-to-day life experience. And as one of the panelists was saying, we want technology to assist people to achieve their highest potential, which is the whole mission and vision of Microsoft. So really speaking on specific topics, Karthik, that you mentioned, for example, transportation. If you take transportation, that's one of the things that we're slowly, as we get back into normalcy, I know there's a little bit of rebound, but as we get back into normalcy, we want to enable traffic to be rerouted across certain events, right? It could be literally an accident, or it could be a large event happening, some sort of rally or so on and so forth. How do we help the government agencies reroute traffic using something like Azure Maps, right? That's one of the applications that really eases the life of day-to-day citizen. Next is predictive maintenance on basic amenities that we as citizens expect. For example, energy, electricity, right? So there are methods today where you can predict whether a transformer is going to go down or whether a power line quality is good or not. we can use technology to do this in advance, so that rather than react to something happening, we can actually predict it happening and provide maintenance in advance. Imagine the impact that would have on a normal citizen, because they could go and achieve their full potential because the infrastructure is being taken care of in a proactive manner, not in a reactive manner, right? So this applies both to renewable energy and other basic amenities. Next, I would like to talk about healthcare, and I think this was mentioned. Healthcare is really evolving, and now this pandemic has made us realize what can technology do to enable healthcare remotely in better ways. Literally, from monitoring a patient remotely to reacting to the patient remotely, Microsoft has created a dedicated healthcare cloud. And why is that necessary? Really, to allow faster innovation in the healthcare domain. And healthcare, again, is a fundamental amenity to our citizens of our country, right? So, how can we innovate faster? How can, in fact, doctors and healthcare providers use technology today to provide healthcare resources faster? I want to give you a simple example. Today, with a person who has had perhaps a fracture, their past can actually be monitored through IoT remotely, and they can be communicated with when to come back to the doctor, when to ask for help, right? So these are some of the examples, and largely there is smart cities. Many of the elements which I spoke about actively take part in what we call an operation command center in a smart city, right? So the way we have to think about it is, we have smart cities, but then we have cities which are already running. How do you make current cities running more efficient, and how do you make smart cities an epitome of efficiency? And I think in India we have been doing a great job. We will be accelerating it soon, thanks to our partnership with the government. Thank you, Karthik.
Thank you, Swapna. And you actually mentioned about some of the very key aspects of a smart urban infrastructure and how technology can, help it and take it up. Exactly, the role of IT is very important if we want to make our cities smarter and more livable. Now I'll be moving on to a person who deals with a very important city in the country, and here I introduce you to with Mr. Vishal Singh, who is Municipal Commissioner of Ayodhya Municipal Corporation and Vice Chairman of Ayodhya Development Authority in Uttar Pradesh. Mr. Vishal Singh, I would like to ask you, sir, that how Ayodhya Nagar Nigam has taken various smart initiatives which are related to e-governance and citizen services, and kindly throw some light about e-governance in the city of Ayodhya. Do we have Mr. Vishal Singh here on screen? Okay, Mr. Vishal Singh. Okay, he's currently not present on the screen. So here I come back to, we have Mr. Yogesh Kumar here with us. Mr. Yogesh Kumar is Nodal Officer for Smart Meter, and he is also Superintending Engineer in Uttar Pradesh Power Corporation. At this time, power is also, seeing a lot of IT transformation, Mr. Yogesh. And I would like to ask you that how has smart metering posed an effective solution to augment the billing systems and induce a behavioral change among people for judicious power consumption? So power consumption is actually an issue in this country, and at the same time how IT is transforming power consumption and power delivery. So I would like Yogesh Kumar to please address and throw some light on these issues.
Thank you, Arpit. Thank you, Karthik. In UP, we are implementing the largest project in the India. We are implementing 40 lakh smart meters. In 40 lakh, till now, we have installed 11.47 lakhs smart meters in across the UP, across the 12 major towns. Actually, as the smart meter is giving the satisfaction level to the consumer is so every consumer who is using the smart meter is get satisfied. only because before installing a smart meter, we are giving the bill to the consumer that was the manually read. So in manually read, as all of you know, that there is a maximum possibilities of errors at the multiple levels. Read what punch as the meter reader is punching at reading at the permissions of the consumer, and at the other side, if the operator is punching at the window of the other side, if the consumer brought the reading at the window of the UPVCL, then there are also the chances of error. Secondly, there was the chances that the meter reader is reading at his own premises. That is called table reading. So because of the multiple issues, uh, consumer was not satisfied with the bill of the electricity. After installing the smart meter, we are giving the accurate bill, accurate plus timely bill. As you know that the multiple consumers, as we start reading from the third of the every month till the 23rd of the every month. So the billing cycle of the consumer is very varying from third to 23rd. A person may get billed on third, if, and in next month that person get billed to 23rd also. Uh, with the smart meter, we are able to give the 95% consumer bill by fourth of the every month. To major change that has come to the system, that the every consumer is getting the bill by the fifth of the month. So a person or consumer is mentally prepared that he has to pay the bill by he has to receive the bill by fifth, and will have to pay by the 15th or 20th of the every month. So he is mentally ready. When a person is mentally ready or get the bill timely on exact date by SMS or mobile applications, then he is going to thought on second step. Second step, that he is thinking that कि उसका बिल बहुत आ गया, कितना how much he is will receiving, how much he has consumed. Then he started using our mobile application web portals, and where he can get daily consumptions of there. So that is encouraging the consumer to uh, conserve the energy, as well as payment his billing payment. Uh, Secondly, with the fact of the department, and also with the use of consumers, there is the second portion is come to analysis. With the analysis, we are able to minimize the energy cost, in the sense that if we are purchasing the energy from the market, that is varying from the morning, noon, or evening, or night. Cost of every time. So we can analyze the consumer pattern, consumer energy pattern, and we can purchase the energy or motivate the consumer so that he can use the energy at the off peak hours, so that the consumer get cheaper supply. This will be implemented in near future, in coming times. So basically, presently most of the consumer are using mobile applications or web portal from the UPVCL, and minimizing their bills, as well as consumption to there. Thank you, Karthik.
Okay, Yogesh, thank you. Very nicely, you have explained the system of smart metering going on in Uttar Pradesh, and how is also if im- impacting the people's behavior toward power consumption. And we have now joined by Mr. Vishal Singh, as I have already introduced you all about Mr. Vishal Singh. He is Municipal Commissioner in Ayodhya Municipal Corporation and a vice chairman of Ayodhya Development Authority in Uttar Pradesh. Welcome, Mr. Vishal Singh. I would like to request you to throw some light on how Ayodhya Nagar Nigam has taken various smart initiatives related to e-governance and the taking citizen services to the doorstep of the people. And please throw some light on those e-governance initiatives in the city of Ayodhya. Mr. Vishal Singh. You are on mute, sir. Can you please unmute yourself? Yes, please.
Am I audible? Thank you
Yes,
so
yes.
much to the August gathering that is here. There is nothing much that has been done in Ayodhya. I mean, we are here. Like starting lot of initiatives of late. To begin with, when I joined in Ayodhya 4 months back, the first thing that we did was to start a help desk because the Citizen Connect was the major thing which was missing in Ayodhya. And we wanted to provide that opportunity to people to be able to get in touch with municipal corporation regarding various grievances that they had. And we have already started. I was just conducting a meeting with all the stakeholders right now about what kind of problems are coming, analyzing those problems, and then have those analytics help us in taking a decision that areas are to be focused, which particular department is not performing properly, so that we can focus on those pain points and deliver services to people efficiently. Apart from that, we have also started My Ayodhya, My App project, wherein we are trying to put in all types of citizen facilities and amenities which are there in Ayodhya. So you can track that, reach there, and probably you can also log in your complaint if there is anything that you want to say about or you want to communicate to Nagar Nigam. So we are starting small, and very soon we have been also selected as a smart city. So we'll be starting with ITMS and your smart parking, smart road. These things are all in offing, and DPRs have been prepared. They are at level of sanction in government. And apart from that, one more thing we have done is this animal birth control, which is a unique project which has been sanctioned after Lucknow. Only Ayodhya has got this. We got that sanction yesterday, so we'll be starting controlling birth rate of dogs to begin with. The other problem that monkey menace is there. We are thinking about creating that kind of city forests where we can ask people to join in and feed them, so that we can contain monkey population, or kind of like restrict their area of movement and stop that monkey biting and things like that, where they become aggressive in search of food. So that is one thing that we're doing. And apart from that, we are developing a smart road which is leading to Ayodhya. I'm calling it a smart road because even it will have a lot of intelligent properties. I mean, like abilities, wherein people will be guided about location transmitters will be there. So you can find out what particular place you are crossing and what is that heritage importance of that place or temple, who built that temple, and all that history will actually pop up onto your smartphone using that when you are traveling on that road. So these are some small initiatives which have started in Ayodhya, and I hope in times to come we'll be able to use more of e-governance in management of municipal services delivery.
Very nicely explained, Mr. Vishal Singh. Nothing much might have not been done yet, but listening to you, we are sure that a lot of things are to be done in the next future, in coming days in Ayodhya, and great to hear about it. And I'll come back to you on this. Ayodhya got selected in smart cities, and soon it will be one of the leading tourism cities also in the country. So there is a lot for technology to do here in the city. But I move on to the next speaker as of now. And the next speaker is Dr. Vikasendu Agarwal, who is Joint Director and State Surveillance Officer in Integrated Disease Surveillance Program, IDSP, in Government of Uttar Pradesh. Welcome, Doctor. And I would like to ask you that how IDSP is strengthening decentralized laboratories based IT-enabled disease surveillance system for this epidemic-prone diseases. So throw some light on that, and please share your vision, your views on digital governance. Dr. Vikas.
Thanks, Karthik. So basically, as we have learned during the COVID era, that data and digitalization, these are two most important things while handling any, you can say, emergency, and rapid flow of data digitalized in digitalized format has enabled the state to handle the crisis in a much better manner. And as is very well known by now, we have handled the situation very well, and the number of cases, the mortality rate, positivity rate, everything in UP is far below than the national average, than almost all the major states, and in fact some smaller states with very good health indicators are learning from our experiences this time. So having said that, there is a lot of scope for improvement, and let me tell you how we did it. Basically, during the Prayagraj Kumbh 2019, the concept of digital real-time internet-enabled disease surveillance came into play, and we were the first country in the world to implement digital disease surveillance in the mass gathering of more than 20 crore population. And it was a very successful venture, and it was appreciated globally, and it is being emulated now in Haridwar Kumbh as well. So from there, we had a basic idea how to go about digitalization of data and internet-based disease surveillance, and we capitalized on that when we had to face COVID, and we very quickly prepared algorithms for COVID surveillance and handed the algorithm over to technical support unit who are working in coordination with BMGF, and they developed a portal. So now in the state of UP, all data, all surveillance, all testing, all hospital allocation, all discharges, they are through that portal only. So on the click of a button, we can see what is the number of new cases in the district for a particular date, what are the number of discharges, what is the mortality rate, how many tests a district is doing, how the laboratories are progressing, what is the current load in laboratories, is there any big pendency. So all these things are on that platform. So every day in the morning when Honorable Chief Minister takes the meeting of Team 11, so all this data is shared with Chief Minister's office, and it helps in decision making. So digitalization of data and making decisions based on data, these are two very critical components. And now with IHIP portal, that is Integrated Health Information Platform, which is being pushed by Government of India. So that is about to be rolled out in all the districts across country. So we are also preparing for that. We are training our teams. We have conducted state level trainings, and we are now going ahead with district level trainings, and IHIP implementation is the next big thing in the field of healthcare. So we are going ahead with that. So
Right.
that is
Right.
my experience from COVID that I
Yes.
had to share with you.
Thank you, Dr. Vikasendu, and UP being a pioneer in the digital surveillance, great to know that, and look forward that more digital intervention you do in healthcare sector in Uttar Pradesh. Do we have Dr. Heera Lal here? The camera is off. So may I ask the second round of question from, okay, he's not here. Neha Jain, madam, I would like to ask you that various cities are talking about, implementing IT in that. So and when you talk about facilitating the investors, the industry, so how do you see that industrial promotion is getting improved, and what sort of improvement you see in industrial promotion in the state, and what has been instrumental, what sort of technology interventions have been instrumental? Can you throw some light on that?
Uh, okay, thank you for that question. So, basically, you asked me about industrial promotion and how IT is helping to spearhead that. Uh, so, basically, I would want to tell you that, Karthik, you imagine yourself in the shoe of an investor. You imagine that you are the investor. So, what will you want? सबसे पहले तो you have a project report. कि suppose कि I have to put a factory of processed food. Suppose you want to put a factory of pasta. You want to manufacture pasta and related items. So you will look for your raw materials. You will have a
Yes.
project report. You will see that where your raw materials are coming from and also you look at where you have to market them. So you
Yes.
might have a plant in Mumbai, but if you want to serve the population of UP, then you will want to also see that how can you reduce the input output का जो गैप होता है हमारा, वो आपकी जो सप्लाई चेन है उसको आप कैसे स्ट्रीमलाइन कर सकते हो, और कैसे आप हाउ कैन यू have it in an efficient manner. So then I'll give you the example of my food park in Baheri, like that's in the Bareilly district. So as an investor, you are not bothered about investing in Noida or Greater Noida for that matter, but you want to invest in, because you want to serve that segment of UP which is untouched. So you visit my GIS portal, and then you see that in Food Park Baheri in Bareilly district, we have so many plots, and you are able to exactly see the position where that plot is, how far it is from the railway station, how far it is from the airport, and stuff like that, and you also know where. So, and then after that, you can simply click on that plot, and then you can apply for it. Like you can apply if it is in an area where we have had up to 75% allotment, then more than that, we go by the auction process because the plots are limited. But before that, if the allotment is less, then we go through Nivesh Mitra. So in Nivesh Mitra, you just apply for the plot and you upload your CA certified project report and the questionnaire which is attached with them, and then you are able to get the plot allotted. And also the site plan and everything is uploaded on the website. So that is how easy it is. Everything is at the click of a button. And at that time, you might actually be sitting in a Mumbai, or you might be sitting in a London, or you might be sitting in Kanpur for that matter. But you do not need to visit my office in Bareilly to have that data.
Yes.
You see it? How you can use leverage technology. Similarly for all the other areas. So that is how I think that technology is important. And basically, I will be the first person to say that because I am a computer engineer myself, and Swapna madam is there from Microsoft. I was working with IBM for 4 years, and when I was in college, I did attend a conference of Microsoft. So whatever Microsoft told me, I wrote on their pad, which they gave me, and they predicted after 10 years, And when I went back to that book, and that actually happened. So many things like that happened. So, just recollecting my past memories. So that is what technology is. So, yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions
Exactly.
around that? I'll be happy to answer.
Yes, I'll come back to you again, Ms. Neham, if we get the time. But Swapna, I would like to come to you on this. A lot of things we got to know that these government leaders are, and they are dealing with a lot of data, and it exposes a lot of data in public domain, and it is also an issue of vulnerability. So, how do you see the security, cyber security in this context? How it is important when a lot of data is getting explored, and how can the cities running on technology, how you can safeguard government and the citizen data in various sectors, and how you protect cyber attacks? So if you throw some light on cyber security along with your views.
Absolutely, Karthik. Absolutely. So before I answer that, I just want to thank Ms. Neha. Thanks so much for that reference, and so proud and happy to see what you have accomplished. I was going through the process of actually trying to think if I want an area. It seems making
You are
a lot
more
of
than welcome. If you want to start a parallel venture, then UPCDA will offer you the land.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, Karthik, going back to your question about cybersecurity, security and technology go hand in hand. Security has to become a habit. So, whether it's the government or the enterprise, and more so for the government because we're dealing with very sensitive citizen data, and government of India is actually about to roll out the whole GDPR equivalent bill now. It's called PDP, if I'm not mistaken, and it's about how we as a government and as a country are going to protect our citizen data. So there are a couple of things that we need to keep in mind, right? First, from a smart city perspective, we are dealing with endpoint devices, which are sitting possibly on electric poles, to cars. We have, for example, launched air pollution detection in partnership with Ola. So we have devices sitting on top of cars. Now, these devices have to be constantly monitored. You should be able to upgrade the operating system. You should be able to upgrade a database. Today, even databases now are being installed on extremely small systems so as to make AI possible and machine learning possible, right? At remote locations. Upgrading these systems, ensuring these systems are up to date on the software is extremely important, because cyber attacks are never going to stop. That is an assumption. You have to operate on zero trust, right? You have to ensure that you have to always think, I am under attack. I will be attacked. And hence, how do I prevent that from happening? So that's number one. Second is use encryption. Data at rest or data in motion, always ensure the data is constantly encrypted with the highest possible encryption levels being offered. For example, AES 256. Second, while this data is being encrypted, ensure the key is completely protected. So every application, all the panelists spoke about applications accessing data. The application might be a mobile application, the application might be sitting at the data center. All of these are accessing data. Do these applications have the permission to access data, right? So use standard protection mechanisms as these applications are developed. So from development to maintenance, security at all levels have to be maintained, right? Then last but very important is access control. You should work on a zero trust model where only people who need to have access to particular data should have access to it. So how do you enable access control? How do you enable role based access? Who can have access to what data? Also important where you store this data, right? So you can't not have citizens access certain portals where they're uploading, for example, videos, they're uploading complaint videos, right? One of the gentlemen spoke about putting in complaints and having various organizations address it. They should have the freedom to put in that data. But then who has access to that data? It cannot be every application. Only relevant applications should have access to that data. So this software architecture during implementing an application, and then architecture around maintaining these applications and running them from a SOC, Security Operations Center perspective, is necessary. Threat protection, threat intelligence, always monitoring anomalies in the network, monitoring anomalies at an application level, data level, access level, all this is necessary. So it's doable, but you have to set up this security architecture around it. Microsoft has solutions in this space. We are constantly monitoring the cyberspace for attacks and sharing that information with all the agencies.
Right. Thank you, Swapna. So do we have Mr. Vishal Singh on screen? Because I can't see him on screen. So I think Mr. Vishal Singh is not on the screen. So okay, I take final remarks from Mr. Yogesh. Mr. Yogesh, we are paucity of time. So in 1 or 2 minutes, if you share your closing thoughts on this discussion.
Discussion wise, very good. Actually, we are implementing multiple IT systems at various departments. In our department also, we are implementing multiple systems to improve the working and facility to the consumers. Working of the department and facilities to the consumers. So that the if consumer is satisfied, then department working is successful, and we are in benefit mode, profit mode basically. So second option that we are using is analytic portion. Data is with us with smart meter, and second portion is analytic. If we do analyze properly that data, then it will be helpful for cheaper energy with consumer satisfaction. This is the basic concept for all departments, and with our department is also. So we are working on this. Also, we are in process for SCADA implementation in artificial intelligence in multiple IT items. We are working. That will be very helpful to consumers plus department plus cheaper energy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yogesh. So here we'll have to wrap up because we are we are wrapping up quite on time. So if anybody has anything to say, to comment quickly before wrapping up, otherwise we'll just close the session. So okay then. So thank you, Ms. Neha, Ms. Swapna, Mr. Yogesh, and Mr. Vishal, and Mr. Dr. Heera Lal, who was joined earlier by Mr. Kumar Vineet and Mr. Vikas Indu. Thank you, all of you, for sparing time and discussing on a very interesting topic of digital governance and the future of these. And as Neha Jain said, that he knows that she knows that when somebody predicts about technology, it happens. A very good example of Microsoft
Yes.
Conference she shared. Great to know that. And here we close the session. Thank you so much, and looking forward to the audience, the live audience, and thousands of people who are watching us live on Avatar. Please keep watching us. We are coming up with the next sessions in this conference throughout the day. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik.
Thank you so much, all the panelists, and Karthik for moderating the panel discussion. Now we move forward with our security session with Surface Demo integration. I'm sure delegates watching us live are going to enjoy it. Over to you, Mr. Deepak Talwar, National Security Officer, Microsoft India, and Mr. Raghav Khullar, Product Marketing Manager, Surface, for Microsoft India, to take this forward.
Thank you everyone for joining the digital governance chat. It's an honor to talk about the perspective of security, which we are talking for the endpoint security. This is a narrative which we are talking today, where we are seeing everybody in 2020 was talking about being at home, being at remote, but not in the office corporate network. So it is all said and done that you are not traveling somewhere on the road to reach to the office and sit in your corporate defined network and start working. And that's where we see more than enterprise, the government, the industry which is talking about, it's very, very tough for them to look into how do we react to such situations. 2020 has been clearly passing on, moving on to 2021. And what we see is this can be the new normal, can be a permanent situation where we see that all the individuals who are talking about being in the offices will be in the hybrid mode. Maybe throughout the life we work remotely and hybrid mode and being in office. It is imperative to say that government, the employees, the citizens whom we need to serve through government was very, very difficult during this remote workplace. Now, in this instance, while we were thinking of as in Microsoft, we found out that governments today are focused on serving users and citizens' needs in the remote working world. It was very, very tough. They need to support their end users' productivity, transform their core processes to be devices to be used, how they are connected, how they are going to access things, and how they are going to react to it. And on top of it, not to say less, that security plays a core role, that are we comfortably working while communicating with the people. So communication, collaboration, how effectively we are talking to individuals in the remote work from space has become the normal norm. And in that instances, we also found out that when we are talking about our organization and we were supporting many of the government entities across the nation states and even in the remote locations, we found that when we are talking about a paired Microsoft 365, where we are talking about the product, the technologies, how we are sending the emails, how we are collaborating, the devices which we are connecting to. Ideally, it is your mobile phones which you are connecting to see your friends, families, government, regulator bodies, and industry, or you are connecting to your desktop and laptops, which may be connected to your corporate network or may not be. So is it secure? Is it secure from the devices? The devices which you are using, are they good enough to be firmware based, collaborative, and secure enough so that you are doing what you are supposed to do? And then when you are connecting, is it well to do with ready to be minimizing the IT complexity. Something we call as built for autopilot, surfaces reduced to eliminate any of the consumptions. So these are some of the aspects which we thought are very, very imperative. At India level, we are seeing that we are getting into a secure data as a fundamental core responsibility, privacy as a fundamental right, security is at its core of every discussion. This is very, very imperative that we look into all the security aspect being inbuilt into the technology, especially the devices which we wear. I wear a smartwatch. With that smartwatch, is it secure enough? Not just it is helping me to tell my heartbeat, it is helping me to collect the data and transaction of data. Is it secure enough? A firmware level or a chip to cloud level security, is it really there? And similarly, if I talk about the government employees, all of you who are sitting at homes or even in the offices, when you see how are you collaborating, how are you communicating, what platform and application you're logging in, is the device secure enough to take care of it, is very, very important. That's why in our security strategy we talk about intelligent edge and intelligent cloud. And that's where from a firmware to chip level, how do we transition and get to the next level? To demonstrate that, what is the reason of endpoint security or your laptop, desktop technologies to be very, very secure enough from the place where you start logging in to connect to it without taking care of any of the security and let device take care of it, is something which is the key responsibility which we think as a Microsoft to look into. And we present Surface, one of the devices which you can connect seamlessly. I would like to quickly pass on to my colleague Raghav, who can demonstrate more what I spoke about to give you a visualization, a thought thinking that how it looks like. Raghav, over to you to present how do we see Surface in terms of security more than that collaboration and productivity.
Thank you, Deepak. Hello, everybody. I'm Raghav, and I'm part of a Surface business group at Microsoft India. And like Deepak very rightly said, while we are talking about security, we also need to make sure that we balance security and productivity, right? And how do we make sure that each of the three levers, right, at the identity level, at the endpoint level, and at the cloud level, right, we are able to make sure that security is of paramount importance in the organization. No data breaches happen, right? And at the same time, your employees, your workers, your colleagues are more productive, right? There are often times, right, if you try to balance security and productivity, right? When we try to make things more and more secure, have multiple passwords, you would have seen, right? Multiple OTPs, multiple authentications, right? You feel that, hey, am I being really productive, right? But at the same time, if you remove all these security restrictions and try to enhance for productivity, right? There are a lot of breaches that happen. There are a lot of data loss that happens, right? How do you ensure that there is a fine balance of security and productivity within your department, within your organization, right? Amongst your colleagues and seniors, how they are working? What we at Microsoft have done is made sure that our devices, our first party hardware, which is our Surface line of products, are secure from the chip, right? From the chip which is designed and manufactured by Microsoft to the cloud, right? The cloud that Deepak spoke about, right? The endpoint management software, whether it's EMS or Intune, or the Teams application that a lot of you are taking video calls on today and sharing files and folders with your colleagues, right? Now let's bring it to life, in a very real scenario. I'm going to talk about three scenarios that a lot of you would have experienced in your day-to-day life. Imagine you're working on a project which is in a remote location. You're traveling by train, and the train journey is 6 to 7 hours. And during the day, you have to take a few of your office calls, right? You can either take them on the phone, but you won't be able to see or hear your colleagues, and you might have to take notes on a piece of paper. Or you can take them on your device, but at the same time, you'll be taking notes on a paper. And imagine if you have to sign a document after the call, or if you have to annotate something, send it to them. You'll probably end up taking a photo, sending it on one particular platform, and then not knowing if the person's actioned on it, is it secure, is it not secure, right? Now imagine if you're in the train and there's limited connectivity, there's no Wi-Fi, how will you connect using your laptop, right? You probably will create a hotspot on your phone, 5 minutes are gone trying to connect it to your laptop, open up Teams, try to get into a video call, right? And then you're taking notes on a piece of paper, right? Now try to imagine you have a Surface Pro X with you, right, like I have, and you simply open the device, it recognizes you, it uses facial recognition, so it automatically logs in, your Teams application pops up, you click on it, and because the device has LTE connectivity, you don't need Wi-Fi to connect in case you're in an area with limited connectivity, right? So your Teams application opens up while you're on the meeting or the call. You can actually make a flowchart, explain things to your team on what needs to be done, whether a decision needs to be taken or not, right? And you can just send it to them or share it with them immediately after the meeting, right? So there is no pictures of notes that you need to take, right? Now imagine if you have to digitally sign a document on the same device, what do? Right? You will just use the pen, sign the document, and send it off via email or Teams, right? So imagine how much time you have saved, how secure it is, the whole process. There is no third software involved or a third party device involved where you are taking a picture of a piece of paper, then sending it to somebody, and you will make sure that all your action items are tracked, right? Now let's take a very different scenario, right? Let's take a scenario which a lot of us are following today on the news, and we are very familiar, right? That a lot of people are trying to get vaccinated, right? The government started the vaccination drive yesterday for people over 45 with comorbidities and people over 60, right? And what is happening is people are trying to register online, right? And we have digitized the whole process of registering for a vaccine, picking up a slot. But now what happens when you reach the vaccine center, right? In today's world, imagine if you have to make the whole process contactless and seamless at the same time, making sure all the data that the government is collecting is secure, and it is very, very seamless in terms of somebody coming in. Imagine they have a kiosk, a tablet set up over there. They scan a QR code or they put in their, authentication number that they've got by registering, and they click a picture. They get vaccinated. They come out, and you're able to at the same kiosk click a picture with the vaccination card and read all the data through the camera, and the process is completed. Right now, compare this to what traditionally different healthcare centers would be doing based on their own technical capability, right? So somebody would be collecting paper forms, somebody would be collecting files, somebody would have it already digitized on their own platform, trying to connect to the government's platform, right? So with the Microsoft first-party devices and the productivity stack, leveraging Teams, you can digitize this entire process, right? It is very simple to create a Power Apps application to make sure all these details are captured via the camera and they are translated into the government database, right? Now, I will bring to life another third scenario, which a lot of us are familiar with, right? So during COVID, right, all the hearings that used to happen, whether judicial, non-judicial, electricity department, any department, right, they were all virtual, right? And imagine for the folks attending the hearing and the folks conducting the hearing, right? How much time it takes to actually come into a room, set up the conferencing infrastructure. You come in, somebody plugs in their laptop, the IT department will come and configure it. It will take 5 minutes to just configure the laptop, open the video conferencing software, right? Try to open a software to take notes, try to connect on video, right? Then just reimagine this experience. If you were to walk up to a device like the Surface Hub, right? The moment you walk up, the screen lights up, you click on join a session which is already scheduled. You will join the hearing and you will be able to see the other people on the side. They will be able to see you and hear you. And at the same time, if you have to explain something, take notes, or write something during the hearing, you can just leverage the pen and make sure that everything is captured very seamlessly using the Microsoft Whiteboard, right? And none of this data, by the way, is outside your particular tenant, your infrastructure, right? Which you control and manage. So everything is very secure. It is on top of Teams. And even after you're done with the call, these notes or these briefings can be shared with anybody you want to, or they can be filed away for a later reference use, right? So just imagine the kind of time and effort somebody can save, organizations like yours can save, departments can save, right? For internal intra-department meetings or inter-department meetings or even briefings to a large group of people, right? You don't have to wait 10-15 minutes for the setup to be done or somebody capturing notes and then that being digitized and then that being sent on email, right? Everything can happen on a single device powered by the Microsoft Cloud, and you will be able to really, really save a lot of man hours, at the same time making sure that no security is compromised. So that's it from my end. I will hand it back to my colleague Deepak. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Raghav, for this demonstration. It is a real-time scenario which we have seen. Very interestingly, when you were talking about Surface, and even it's like a conference in a bag. You know, so carrying a conference in a bag where you're not worried about hardware, software, power outage, devices to be connected, applications to be looked into, is very imperative. Where we ourselves as Microsoft during 2020 and 2021 and moving forward as permanent new resilience, we found out that the example which you gave is actually utilized in each and every aspect or every sector and domain. Vaccination management system, healthcare, and not just vaccine to be provided to the end users or patients and critical community. It is more important is how quickly and seamlessly they are able to do it. So if I walk into an healthcare system, how I am getting authenticated, how my biometrics are taken, how minimum contactless effort, which you mentioned, can help, is really critical for any department. And the most important is, am I carrying single tool or I am carrying a toolkit all together to solve one small problem? That's where I personally feel, even as a user or as a corporate, or when we were talking to government and the entities, can be very fruitful and important. Being in the railway systems or defense and intelligence, if I can say. And while in those communities, if you think of these situations like you created a canvas of conference in a mobility, I can just move on to a very critical scenario or something which is very threat centric, or cyber attack has happened and you want to get everybody on a war room. How are you going to get those things? I personally feel this hub to us and others can eliminate a lot of operational things, which is going to increase the efficiency. Thank you, Raghav, from bringing that point of view. So to summarize and conclude what we learned from Raghav and overall how we are seeing it, it is not about device from chip to cloud. It is also about a seamless user experience, ministers who don't have time to get into, the corporates who needs to talk, multi-level people who are getting into a common meetings. They should not be wasting 30-40 minutes get onto the operational things, what we have seen most of the time. And especially in work from home, you might see these devices very handy in this contactless environment. Second part, collaboration, which is very important, which is going to build up. And the most important thing which I'm leaving open to think through, are you secure by using these devices, is the most important thing. We have thousands of devices in the world. Everybody has their own security, but can I have collaboration, community building, inclusiveness into that piece of device, and still it is hardened from chip level to the micro level to the operating system level, and layered security, so that you are comfortable, your families are comfortable and secure when they're utilizing it. Thank you so much for that opportunity to us. I think it makes a lot of sense to utilize those things. Thank you, everyone.
After the security demo, it is time to join the workshop on AI fundamentals and baseline skilling. I request you all to be ready for this amazing experience.
So please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. A very good afternoon to everyone. I hope you had a great session in the morning. Since morning, you had a great session on multiple facets of the technologies, and it's now time for taking you through the great world of artificial intelligence and how this is helping the world today, and how it has changed or transformed the whole world today in its own way. I'm Anantit. I'm working as a subject matter expert at Cloud That Technologies. I'm going to take you through the artificial intelligence fundamentals on Microsoft Azure, and make you know about what are the offerings from Microsoft, which helps creating wonderful applications on AI. So without wasting that time, I'm going to share my screen. let me introduce my company and myself to you. I hope my screen is visible to you. Okay, so uh, I belong to a company called Cloud Technologies. We are a worldwide learning partner for Microsoft. We have trained more than 3 lakh professionals across the globe in VILT and ILT modes. We are a dynamic team of Microsoft certified trainers and certified professionals. And the clientele of our company includes some of the Fortune 500 companies as well. So I'm extremely delighted to share that our company is awarded Microsoft Training Partner of the Year finalist for 2020. A little bit about myself. I am Anantit. I am a data science professional and a certified cloud administrator. I have experience in building machine learning models, AI workloads, deployment, and given a problem on data science, designing an end-to-end solution on a cloud platform like Azure. So I'm here to take you through the Azure AI fundamentals today. And with me, I have my team member who is supporting on chat, Mr. Saurabh Kumar Jain. Please feel free to post your queries or questions during the presentation, during the demonstration, in the Q&A chat available at your screen. My friend will be really happy to help you through the chat. Okay, so I request you to please make better use of the chat window. My friend is there to help there. Okay, so with that introduction, let's get started with the Microsoft AI Azure fundamentals. So here is the agenda. We will be talking on the AI landscape in the first place, because the whole world is talking about AI, and we also saw just before this session some wonderful aspects of how technology is changing the world in its own way, and how things are simpler compared to the traditional methods and so on. So we will just try to look into what AI or artificial intelligence is all about, and what is it giving us in the form of wonderful products. Okay, so that is about the first part. And after that, we will talk about the Microsoft strategies for implementing these AI and the solutions that Microsoft Azure has come up with to create AI solutions with minimal effort and time. Okay, and we'll look into the wonderful offering from Microsoft, that is the cognitive services. Of course, that is part of the Microsoft strategy and solutions that it has leveraged, that is leveraged by the cognitive services. And after that, I will take you through a very interesting part of this session, that is the Microsoft official curriculum. So Microsoft basically provides you with a wonderful book, we can say, that can be used to understand the technologies in a nutshell. So that is called as official curriculum. And I'm going to give you this book. I'm going to show you how you can actually go ahead and take this book and make it your own for your understanding and reading purpose. Okay, so I'm going to take you through that. After that, we'll talk about the AI, the facets of AI, especially um, the multiple facets of the cognitive services, what I spoke about. Okay, in the form of language, vision, speech, decision, and even search part of that. And after that, we will talk about uh, the amazing part of AI, which is the machine learning. Okay, I would say that it's the backbone of the artificial intelligence applications today. And we will talk about how easy it is to create machine learning models with absolutely minimal effort. Okay, we are going to see that the conventional methods, the regular traditional methods, provide us this facility, of course, but they are very time consuming and laborious in that process. But using Microsoft Azure, we will be able to see that the models creation or making the machine learning available to the public endpoint is so very simple. So I'm going to take you through that. And finally, we will conclude with talking about how to democratize AI and how it has been already initiated by Microsoft, plus the responsible AI and ethics part of it. Okay, so we are going to talk about all of this in a nutshell. Of course,
any point of time, if you find something is requiring more details into that, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat window. My friend is really helpful with that Q&A support. So let's get started. We'll talk about the AI landscape. Okay, so when we talk about AI, we all know that what this AI is all about, right? It is actually about the intelligence, right? When we say that a person is intelligent, we actually know what are we trying to say, right? But it is very hard to define what is intelligence. Okay, in a way, we can say that the intelligence is something that makes us think like, rather artificial intelligence is something that makes us think like humans, right? So humans have visual perception, humans have audio perception, humans think about things, right, and so on. So if the machine has these capabilities, if the machine can mimic what a human being does, then we can say it is artificially intelligent machine, right? So that is something we can give as an introduction to artificial intelligence. But it is very, very hard to define exactly what intelligence is all about, right? So like human beings think, if the machines can do and perform the same things in much better way and in much efficient manner without human intervention, then that is the beautiful definition of artificial intelligence. So let's look at what is inside the AI landscape. Before the components of artificial intelligence, let me just give you some facts. Okay, it says that AI will create 2.3 million jobs. Okay, that's great. That sounds really, really great. But it also eliminates 1.8 million jobs all, in addition to that. So we can understand that this is a sort of double-edged sword. But still, we will admire AI because this is going to create better jobs, right, compared to the conventional jobs. For example, the jobs that get eliminated are most likely to be the iterative jobs, right, where no much human intelligence is required, right? So no much without the human intervention or to the best extent, the jobs can be performed, right? They are iterative in nature. They are very simple tasks, but yet we deploy the human resource there. But if by any means, if we can just do this with a machine and avoid people doing these simpler jobs and perform better jobs, then that is actually very, very imperative, right? That is what is AI trying to do. So AI will grab jobs, will take away jobs only to create better jobs, we can say, right? So of course, this is again a matter of debate, but in general, if to summarize, we can say that AI is going to create better job opportunities compared to compared to the last decade, right? So last decade, rather we can say before 2020, 2010, the scene was absolutely different, and in the last decade we have seen tremendous improvement in the field of AI. Earlier, in the first 5 years, we have seen enormous research happening everywhere, and now in last 5 years, almost AI has come to every corner of the world, right? And they say that by 2021, 30% of tech jobs will be unfulfilled owing to unavailability of relevant talent in digital domain, right? So this actually gives us a feeling that we are slightly lacking on the talent part, because the the stuff that AI does, of course, is very relevant and very useful, but yet very, very complicated in one sense, because AI needs a lot of understanding behind, a lot of math, a lot of technical skills put together, called as technical talent, that's required. But the job market, of course, has jobs, but the labor market has a tight condition because we have lack of talent today, right? So it says that the strongest demand from talent for talent with AI has not come from IT department, but rather it is from the business units of organization. Okay, this is one more noteworthy point, that we usually say that something related to coding, something related to algorithms, machine learning, and the related stuff will always be something that is pronounced in the context of IT, right? But today, every business unit, be it marketing, be it sales, be it pre-sales, whatever, all of them
are actually demanding for the people or the talent with the right AI skills, right? So you can imagine that the AI is actually affecting the other parts which are apparently not taken when we talk about technology, right? So that is one another interesting point that we have from this from the survey, right? And to summarize, it says the high demand and tight labor markets have made the candidates with AI skills highly competitive. It's a hard reality today that we have high demand on one side, we have lakhs of jobs, billions of jobs lying down, but people are not there to right people are not there to take them up, right? So there are very primitive type of knowledge or the talents available today, of course, but something like a research type, or rather we can say PhD level type of talent we don't have right away in the market. So it's actually a challenging stuff for the people to hire them and perform the AI stuff as well. So I'm just giving you the glimpse of how AI is actually demanding for new jobs, and they're definitely better jobs because they're all white collar type of jobs that are going to be created out of that. So this is the current scenario. And you know that NASCOM has come up with something called as future skills talent pool, and out of out of the 100% talent being employed, okay, around 80% are definitely from the cloud and AI, web and mobile, and big data and analytics and so on. So you can just imagine that this is the current condition, and it becomes almost inevitable to talk about or to understand about the AI in the context of any part of our life, any walk of our life, right? So I'm just going to show you one picture which summarizes the AI and its pervasiveness, okay, in almost all walks of life. For example, I think in the previous session they were mentioning about the data security, right? So security is of a primary concern, or we can say paramount concern, when we talk about the AI and doing the online stuff, right? When people go digital, when we do digital signatures, when we do digitally, when we send the certificates and the sensitive information, what becomes most important for us is the data security. And that's what I think Mr. Agar was pointing out very well, that the Microsoft Azure is offering the AI applications that are absolutely secure in one sense, sorry, in every sense, right? So security becomes most important when we go digital, and especially in last 5 years, we have seen almost a great digital transformation in the world, and in specific in India, that there is a great transformation that has happened digitally. Okay, people are talking about digital transactions today more likely, more oftenly than what they used to do 5 years ago, right? And people are doing digital payments. People are going digital in every sense, right? So data security becomes the primary concern there. But AI has everything in it to take care of this security aspect. We will come to that, right? Apart from that, of course, the social media that we witness today has been impacted like anything, right? Today social media is a new stage where customers and the sellers meet, right? So people sell their product more on the social media than on their websites. Reason being, social media is the new selling platform, right? And people are also smart enough that they use social media to the fullest extent, and any concerns or any we can say the grievances, they just post it on social media with a hashtag, so that people can come back to them with very less time, so within very less time. So social media is of course being completely changed today with the advancement in the artificial intelligence. The other one is very imperative, that is gaming. So earlier gaming was just a small thing in the digital world, right? But the gaming business today is a $1 million business. It's a great business today. Reason being, gaming is all about user experience, right? So user experience has been tremendously improved with the advent of AI. That's why gaming is also gaining a lot of importance, and people are really interested in this industry. right? So big giants in the world are also working on the gaming part of it. Okay, and of course healthcare, astronomy, transport, these are all the things which we deal with every day, right? Of course astronomy is a little far, we can say, but healthcare is something that we visit every day, in some sense, right? We go digitally and meet doctors, especially during pandemic. We have met doctors online, and we have taken the medications. We have done, even we have brought the medicines online, and with a lot of advertisement that happens on the social media and so on. So it has affected the medical field, especially the healthcare part, transport part, and every other walk of life extremely well, right? So of course, needless to say about the e-commerce part and education part, today people are having everything at the tip of their button. They can press the button, and the information is all open to you in the digital platform. So digital transformation and AI are totally related, right? So digital transformation is better enabled by the AI technologies, we can say, in this context. Okay, so I'm just keeping other things uh, just for your understanding, that all of these, of course, this is a subset of what AI can do. AI can do much more than the applications I have shown in this figure, right? So that's enough introduction to the AI world, and what AI can do for us. Okay, with that, we can understand that it becomes really important to see what people have worked on AI to create the AI solutions with minimal effort. Now, if you look at the backend, okay, of the AI, what you see is there are services working for you. Okay, of course, these are the services that are actually being created by multiple providers today. So there are a lot of players in the game, of course, right? Like Amazon, the big giants like Amazon, Microsoft, we can say Google, IBM, Oracle. All of them have worked in some way to create the world class facility for building AI applications through the AI services. And behind that, to realize the services and the AI stuff, we do have the ML algorithms working all throughout. I'll come to that point after this. And what it contains inside is these other details, which I'm going to throw light on. Right. So in the backend, what we have is the AI services, the ML algorithms, and ML platform, which is again an easy to use platform, unlike what it used to be some 5 years ago. Right. Things are advanced, like a complete transformed way. We can see a different picture completely today. Everything is automated, and we can create things in just a few clicks of mouse, and you'll be able to see your AI being AI application being deployed with a very minimal effort. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate some of them and show you that it is so simple to create such applications with few clicks of mouse. Right, that is the agenda we have anyway. Now there are three important terminologies as part of this, which are used quite often in the context of AI. Right. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, we always talk about what is known as the machine learning part of it, and we also talk about something called as data science. So I thought this becomes more relevant here in this context to disambiguate what are they, disambiguate their existence. For example, people usually equate all of them and talk about it, right? So we use them interchangeably. We call machine learning, we call AI, we sometimes club them together, call AI and ML, and so on. Or put together, people generally say it is a data science process and so on, right? But about what exactly it is, okay? Let's give it a thought that AI is everything that we see today in the digital world. Okay, we can say this is the universe of computing technology. You can say this is the universal term, right? Universe of computing technology, right? And this is an umbrella term. And machine learning is something that is called as the backbone of AI, right? So machine learning is a part of AI that actually creates the backbone of these AI applications. When I talk about AI facets, like AI is available in what forms, like vision, speech, or language, and so on.
behind every one of each one of them, there is a machine learning algorithm working for it, right? So we can say in the back end, what we see is the machine learning. And data science is something that is called as a process to realize AI, we can say, process to realize, right? So data science is actually required to basically create these stuff, right? Artificial intelligence stuff. We can say it's a process basically. It's not a technology in itself, right? So if you want to give you a brief idea of what AI and ML, how they are related to each other, we can say AI is a big term in which we have ML, and in ML we have the deep learning and other stuff. Okay, so AI is inclusive of ML and other stuff. That's the idea of that. And the way to realize this, we require data science. I'm going to give you an example of data science life cycle where you will understand the very importance of the process, okay, that is required to create the best solutions possible. With that being said, we will start off with one example. Let's say for for creating an application which is an AI application, okay, what we need is a business problem, right? Without a business problem, there is no point or there is no need for creation of AI stuff. Okay, so what we need is a business problem. For example, let's say loan approval process in a bank, right? If you want to create a loan approval process, this is a typically a business problem. Why? Because people how it traditionally what happens in the loan approval process is that a person who is seeking for loan comes to a banker, and banker has to look into the details of the person, okay, who is seeking for the loan, and banker has to decide whether the loans can be given or not, right? Based on the aspects of the person, like for example, like age of the person, like salary, like the credit score, and so on, right? Much more on that. So he has to first look into all this data and give it. But banker is also a human being, right? So human beings are basically biased, so in the sense that people help the people who look like them, or people like the people who speak the same language, and so on, right? So we have bias on the ethnicity, we have bias on language, we have bias on the appearance, and so on. So basically you need to avoid this bias when we talk about a very fair approval process, right? So in order to maintain that fairness, I need to avoid this complete human intervention. So that becomes a business problem for me, right? So I need to replace this human being being in that place with an ML solution there, right? So that is where we have a business problem. Now when the problem is defined and you want a machine learning algorithm to run and help your uh, uh, um, loan approval process, then what you need to do is you need to collect this information first, right? And this information, like the way I have written over here, is not available in that form, right? They appear from different backgrounds. For example, it can be from the hard copy of ledgers, or it can be from a computer locally maintained at an office, or whatever, which perhaps is not in the same format, right? All of them will differ in some way. So you need to bring them to a proper format so that we can clean the data and make it ready for understanding and getting insights out of the data. So the process of obtaining this data is called acquisition, and creating sense out of it, okay, by doing some cleaning stuff, is called as data cleaning or data wrangling, we can say, right? So all that stuff is this. And once that is ready, then we can go ahead with creating a mathematical model for that, which represents the data, right? So machine learning is all about mathematical creation of mathematical models, right? So once the data is perfectly all right, then I'm going to create the mathematical model out of it. But there also something like, let's say, in this tabular column, if we have a special column called as, let's say, gender, right? So gender should not matter to you, because you need to be fair enough on all the genders, right? So such features need to be actually removed if they do not make sense to you. So that is called as feature engineering, right? So feature engineering has to happen, then you have to train the model, and finally you create a model out of it. Now this model has to be made available to the customer in the form of an endpoint that is called as deployment. And this is where we are coming to the cloud deployment stuff. I'm going to talk about why cloud is essential at this point of time, but for now we can understand this business problem. After defining it, after getting the data cleaned, after creating the models, we need to deploy them to a suitable endpoint so that the customer accept it, and this will be made available for their use, right? And you can see throughout this process, everywhere there is a back and forth movement so that you actually create the best model out of, we can say, the optimal model that performs well on almost all type of models, right? So that is the process of science. Now by this you must understand that creating ML models in a certain way with data is called as the data science process. Okay, so data science is a process. AI is a collection of technologies, and ML is the backbone of that. That is what I was trying to clarify with the previous diagram and this particular explanation. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. Fine then. So having said about the data science life cycle, let's move on and understand what Microsoft has done in this context, right? So we'll talk about Microsoft Azure AI strategies and solutions. What did Microsoft do to actually help us create the world-class AI solution with minimal effort? Let's understand that. So artificial intelligence in Microsoft Azure, okay? We basically talk about Azure cloud. Why do we actually go for deployment in the cloud? Because what we talk about AI, what we talk about ML is all completely including the data part of it, right? So always what is inevitable to the AI or ML applications is data. And this data is basically enormous in number, in amounts, right? Enormous. And of course, not just enormous, it's also heterogeneous, right? So once you have data which is heterogeneous and large in the amounts, what you need is a great storage solution, right? So if you want to buy something like storage for yourself and keep the data on premises, right, it becomes a great investment upfront, right? So in order to avoid that, rather we can say the investment is something that not everybody can afford to. Okay, in that sense we will not be able to reach to the corners of the world where people can directly invest on AI part, right? So in a way we are going against the democratization. So to democratize the AI, right, what we need is we want everybody to be able to quickly use the AI solutions for their betterment, right? So if you want to create everything on premises, it becomes really difficult. So in that case, if you can just go ahead and have a solution which can be hired with certain model of payment, then that will be very helpful, and that is where the cloud part comes into picture. Now similar is the case with the computation also. What you see in the AI or ML part, they are computationally intense. They're basically computationally very intense, right? So when they are computationally intense, you need to have high-end processors like GPUs with a lot of configurations, high-end configurations, which is not so easily bought with the investment, right? So instead, what you can do is you can go to cloud and you can actually do something like, we can say, pay as you go, right? So you will actually have this benefit of paying what you use basically, and you can always stop the services if you find that something has become outdated or obsolete and you don't want to use it. That is always possible. Apart from these two advantages of having storage and the compute, we also have something like the shelf of services where you can just pick it up and use it for your applications and keep it back. That's it. So these are the services, something like machine learning, Azure Machine Learning, which is a world-class platform for creating, managing, and deploying your machine learning models. And then we have a suite of wonderful services called as cognitive services, which is actually the ready-made stuff for building AI solutions. And third one is about Azure Bot Service, which is very helpful in creating the most popular application of AI, that is your chatbots, right? So I'm going to throw light on this, and that is the crux of this particular presentation. Okay, so having said that, Microsoft has clearly made it mm, uh, very useful that the persons with minimal effort and minimal investment can come to the cloud, have the cloud services used, and create the best possible AI solutions for their needs. Okay, so this is what the strategy that Microsoft or rather the solutions that Microsoft has provided to us, right? And going forward, we'll be looking into all three aspects of this machine learning, cognitive services, and the bot service. I hope I made it clear to you on this part. Now, getting a brief look into the cognitive services. Okay, machine learning is something that we can directly understand. Okay, but cognitive services has multiple things to offer. What it offers is the five main facets, we can say, right? The way we can look at cognitive services is by five doors. One is the vision part of it. Okay, so vision is something that we have to be uh, uh, very comfortable with, because everywhere today we see the pictures being uploaded, right? So we create ourselves, we create lot of visual stuff or content every now and then, right? So overnight billions of pictures get uploaded to the servers, okay, on the social media. So it becomes really important to deal with these visual content, right? So it's all about that. So we have object detection, tagging, uh, image description, and face recognition and face analysis. The other stuff of the for example, we have the optical character recognition and so on. All of them belong to this category of cognitive services. So Azure provides a wonderful set of services for dealing with the visual content in this matter, right? So that's the first thing. The second one is about speech. Now, Azure Cognitive Services provide world-class speech-to-text and text-to-speech translation services, right? Real-time and new technologies like speaker identification has just come in, which are in preview and so on, right? So basically, it's trying to touch upon the speech, which is a very popular mode of communication. For example, we go ahead and call out the AI agents like Cortana or Siri or Alexa, Google, and so on. And we what we provide is the speech input, right? This basically has to be converted to text, and it has to be processed in real time and whatnot. So cognitive services will take care of a lot of stuff related to the voice input that comes in, right? Apart from that, we have the heart of this cognitive services or chatbots in specific, that's called as language service. Now, language detection, uh, uh, extracting the content of the language, or we can say the text part of it, and understanding the semantics, understanding the emotions, the mood, the attitude, and so on, is all part of the language. Basically, we are trying to do the emotion detection, we are trying to do the phrase extraction, we are trying to process the text in an intelligent way, right? So all of them are part of this language service, which is a wonderful service offered by cognitive services of Azure, right? Of course, we do have other stuff like the content moderation, where we try to avoid the personal data, the privacy prone data, and other stuff to come on from coming to the public platform and being exposed unintentionally or intentionally. All that stuff is also part of this language services. We are going to explore more with the language part. We will show a demonstration on how the text analytics is useful in creating, or rather in making an application which does sentiment analysis of a social media post, right? So we are going to see that demo after this, and also we will see some demonstration on the vision part. That is something we have planned. And apart from this, there are slightly newer applications added to the cognitive services family, are the knowledge and the search part. Of course, search is well established now. It has a lot of stuff already existing. It is basically built on the Bing search that we have, which exhibits almost all the capabilities that the Google search exhibits today. Right? We are coming to that in one slider. And knowledge part is extremely useful, where we will try to understand the users words and do some matching with the existing knowledge base, and create the question answer pair, answer it through the chatbot, and chatbot can be applied through, or rather reach through multiple channels and so on. So all that stuff we are going to see, and how this is helpful in creating the best applications with very few clicks of the mouse, right? So we will see all of them in one go after this, right? To start with, having said about the cognitive services, we'll just see the different workloads. If you want to see the AI workloads, it will be like machine learning, right? It's basically predictive models, right? Something like you want to predict the ice cream data sales, or rather ice cream sales in the summer, coming summer, right? So in the month of April, that's going to start. What could be the estimated ice cream sales for a particular we can say a particular company, right? So that's something we do with machine learning, doing some anomaly detection, taking action in advance, so that you will save the business health. You will see that your business is not affected. That is something we have as part of anomaly detection. Then computer vision, NLP, and conversational AI, which is a chatbot application or AI agents. We will see how they can engage into the dialogues with human users and give the best user experience, right? So these are very common workloads, and this is an exhaustive set of cognitive services. I hope this part is comfortable for you. And now this is time for getting the book, right? So this book is all about the complete AI fundamentals on Azure, right? So all the cognitive services, along with a brief introduction to each of them, with demonstrations and other stuff, with the other facilities like making notes and other comments and other stuff. We do have a wonderful reader called skillpipe.com. We will go to that, okay? And through this skillpipe.com, we are going to quickly access this book called as Microsoft Official Curriculum. In short, it is called as MOC, right? So we will all do this, and you will get the MOC or curriculum for free, okay? If you just go through this link, my friend is going to paste this in the chat window. Please take it up, copy the link, and I'm going to show you how to redeem this particular code, right? So I'm just going to the other screen. I hope my screen is visible. So here, once you rather, I can click on that. You can also do the same thing. I'll just click on that. It opens up in the Microsoft Edge. Okay, so you will land on this particular page. Now here, there is a button called Claim MOC. MOC stands for Microsoft Official Curriculum, the book I'm talking about. So please click on that. You will be popped up with one more tab, so where you will say Claim Microsoft Official Curriculum. So click on that as well. We will wait for half a minute. Yeah. Now here is the page where you actually land up. Once you click on the second click, once you make that, you will be on skillpipe.com, and you will be on the registration page. Now you have to fill in the details. If you are using the skillpipe.com, basically it's a reader. If you are using it for the first time, you need to provide all these details and click on register. Okay. Now once you register and go back to login with the credentials, you will see the book already there in the bookshelf, right? And if you are not a new user, if you already have used it earlier, then you can go back to login. You will be prompted here. You will take your email ID. I personally recommend you to use the personal email IDs with Live or Hotmail or the other Microsoft accounts. Then submit your password and see that your book is available to you, right? So if you are registering for the first time, you just log in, you will see your book is available to you. There are a lot of books here, but the one you will be seeing is this AI -900. You can see this. This is what you'll be getting it. right? Now, if you are a new user, then if you are a new user, then you have to just register and log in. You will see this book on the bookshelf. On the left corner, you have table of contents. Click on that. You will see the different modules under which they will cover all the cognitive services in a great depth. Okay, and it has other stuff like bookmarks you can make. When you're reading, you can bookmark it specifically to your interest. You can make some notes if you're reading some stuff on the other parts of the internet. Then you can just make notes on specific things and so on, right? So a lot of stuff is there here. You can just click on the plus sign. You will see the contents of each of these modules. It's an amazing book and you are getting it for free. Kindly do this. I will wait for another 2 minutes. Okay, I will repeat the process again. So click on the link given in the chat window. You will be on this page. Click on claim emoji. Then you will see another pop-up, claim Microsoft official curriculum. Click on the second one also. Then you will be landing on this particular page. Yeah, this is the registration page. If you are doing for the first time, please register here after entering all the details and then log in. You will be able to see this book. And if you are already you have the skill pipe account, then you need to copy this last part of the browser tag. Then that is your code. That code you need to copy and you log in. If you I'm talking about those who are already having the skill pipe account, they need to come to the menu and add course and then paste it here. This is what you need to do and redeem the key. So this is for those who already have the skill pipe account. If not, please register and you will see your book ready. And once you're done, please paste in the chat window as done so that our team will know that you have successfully redeemed it. Else they can support you with whatever questions you have. Once you're done, please do let us know in the chat window saying done. I will wait for another 1 minute. Okay, so those who are done, please explore more what is there in the book. Okay, so I hope you are done. I will be going to the next part. Considering you are done, I'm going to repeat it again in the end. If you have come late or if you have not followed it well, or if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat window so that my team can help you and assist you to just redeem it quickly. Okay, we'll go back to the PPT now. Now, having done this much, okay, having understood about the AI and the Microsoft Azure AI, its implementation, its offerings, and so on, we are now good to go with the specific ones. We will talk about the language part and see a demonstration, see some customer stories, and then go to the vision part, do the same thing, look at a demonstration, and perform some hands-on that. In the sense, we will have a demonstration on that, right? So let's get started. So what is natural language processing all about, right? So basically, we deal with languages. Dealing with language is actually very difficult because languages are very complex in nature, right? And why? Because the language what we talk are not the formal language like your C, C sharp, and so on, right? But instead they are natural languages. So when it comes to dealing with natural languages, they are very complicated in nature. We have a lot of intricate stuff in the language, because in the language what comes is the slang, right? Or we can say localized phrases and so on. So basically these are going to affect the performance to deal with the natural languages, right? So if you just travel of 100 kilometers or so, you will see people talking the same language with different slang, right, and using different localized phrases. So if the bot or the AI agent has to deal with these natural languages, then it is really a very challenging stuff for the AI applications to understand what the language is meaning to them, right? So it becomes very, very essential to understand the overall meaning of a sentence being spoken. For example, when people say shut the door, when people say close the door, and swing the door too, all of them mean the same, but people say it in different ways, right? So their utterances are different, but the meaning is same. So you need to actually be worried about the overall meaning of the sentence, because on that you are going to act, right? Because once you understand the very intent of the user, then you will be able to give them the solution that the user is asking for, right? So that's very, very challenging stuff. That's the whole idea of about the language at the outset, to understand about why natural language and its process is so complicated. Now in Azure, if you look at what is the offering, we basically have text analytics part, which actually has four things in it. One is, you will first look into what language it is, which language are you talking about. Around 120 languages are supported for language services in Azure, right? That's a great number. We can see that a lot of stuff is there in the language, and a lot of languages are supported, which itself indicates that it is actually growing at an extreme pace, right? And after detecting the language, which language is that, you will have to extract the key terms. For example, when people say I am extremely happy, so you have to extract the terms like happy, or you have to extract terms like delighted. So that actually will add to the meaning of the sentence, right? You will try to understand what is the sentiment due to that extraction. That is why, to create better sentiment analysis of the language, you need to extract the key phrases from there, and entity detection as well, right? For example, when people say switch on, right? Switch on is something that has meaning but not the complete meaning. But if you say switch on the fan, then it makes complete meaning. So that is an entity there. So entity is basically adding to the meaning of the intent. That's why that is also essential to be known. Apart from that, we have speech services, which actually deal with language. Of course, when I was talking to you about the interconnection between text and speech, right? So what you say to an AI agent has to be first brought to the text format and then processed, right? And then if required, that has to be converted back to speech. So this is the process basically, hence this is also a part of this. Then we have translation. Of course, we require translation services everywhere, because the market today is global and we deal with people globally, and hence translator text has its role to play. And after all of these, apart from language modeling, where you need to understand the language, we do have a service called Louis by Microsoft, that is going to actually deal with the semantics of the language and give you the best possible meaning of the overall meaning of the sentence, right? So we will see that. Text analytics goes like this. I had a wonderful vacation in France. If you say, it says the language is English predominantly, and it says it is a positive language because it is shown it as percentage, right? It's actually shown like this from 0 to 1. If it is more, 0.5 is neutral, let's say. If it is towards 1, it is called positive sentiment, and if it is towards 0, it's called as negative sentiment, right? So if you multiply by 100, it becomes in percentage. So it's 88% positive. Then key phrases in this are the wonderful vacation. So with this key phrase, you will understand that the mood of the person is actually the positive. Now, speech recognition works like this. You know about it. It's actually conversion from speech to text or text to speech. Now, translation services, of course, are essential because of the global market. And language understanding goes like this. When I say switch the light on, what I say is called as utterance, right? And what we have as part of the utterance is the entity. The light is an entity. Okay. And what comes out as a light due to understanding of the sentence is called as intent of the sentence. Right? So this is the understanding part. So this is how these three important key factors help us in making understand the language well. So for that, I told you that there's a service by Microsoft called as LUIS. It's a cloud-based API service that applies custom machine learning intelligence to users' conversational natural language text to predict the overall meaning. Right? So that's the very interesting of the language services and what the Azure has got to offer. So of course, as part of LUIS, you need to understand what is that you're talking about, and you need to plan your intents while creating the LUIS application, and you need to create the example utterances and other things for each of these intents. For example, if I'm creating a travel app, let's say, or you can say a fitness app, so I need to define in the travel what can come. Something like book a flight is an intent, or we can say book a ticket is an intent, cancel a ticket is an intent, something like this. So these are the intentions, and each of them can be said in multiple ways. Those are called as utterances. So you need to create this big stuff of knowledge base, which is going to give us a wonderful app, which is supported by the LUIS service by Microsoft, that will enhance the language understanding of an AI agent that comes up with this. So looking at to who are using it, looking at the customers who are using it. KPMG is already using it. It says it has streamlined the fraud analytics, right? It is helping the financial institutions save millions of compliance costs with its customer risk analytics part, right? That's the great news that customers have. So it's an action for KPMG. If you look at the Kotak Mahindra Bank, it accelerates productivity by having a chat bot, which can easily look into the email body, right? Email, you can either look into the subject line, or you can look into the body and understand what is the sentiment of that. If it is positive, you can say thanks to them at a later point of time. But if it is negative, or somebody is pointing at you that this is not good, this is not working, you need to quickly act upon it, right? So to trigger the best action, you can actually use the text analytics to analyze the sentiment of the emails that come in. So I'm going to show you a demonstration similar to this, but for the social media posts instead of the bank emails. Okay, let's go to the Azure portal and have a look at how we can create a wonderful solution for sentiment analysis with very minimal effort. Let's go to the portal now. So I am just going to the Azure portal. Portal's address is portal.azure.com. It is pasted in the chat window. You can have a look at it. So you need to have subscription to go to this and use the service. You can actually go to the free subscription. You can actually, if you're a new customer, if you want to try the Microsoft Azure for the first time, you are given a chance to use it freely. There is a free resource where you can go to and subscribe for free subscription. That link is also pasted in the chat window. My friend will do that. Please use that. You will get $100 credit for free. So initially you can start using it. This is my portal. Anything that I create as part of this is called as create resource. Okay. Sorry, it's called as a resource. I'm sorry. So for creating that resource, I can go to here and click on that and create a resource. So what am I trying to do is I'm going to show you how sentiment analysis can be done on Twitter post. Let's say I'm going to tweet something. And on the Twitter, okay, I'm going to show you. The moment I tweet something with a hashtag, it is going to analyze my tweet and say this is positive sentiment or negative and so on, right? So that is done through Azure Logic Apps. So I'm going to create a Logic App service. Click on create, click on search, and then you will end up with that. So there's a Logic App here. I'm going to create it. So Logic App is like a flow diagram through which we can suggest what is the action number one, what is action number two, and so on. It's like a workflow with no coding effort. Okay, that's why I'm using that Logic App. Very simple to use. I need to choose my resource group. I can enter something like ATSM is my prefix I usually use. LA stands for Logic App. And I'm keeping other things as it is and creating it. It takes a short while. Deployment is in progress. Let me open this portal in another tab also, where I can create one more resource, which is called text analytics, because we require text analytics resource as well. Just type search for text analytics. You can keep a track of time and you can see how in just 10 minutes we are going to create this app. This is a wonderful thing. So choose any of your choice, any region of your choice. I usually choose East US. Name it. So text analytics. PA is text analytics. Pricing tier, I'll use the free one. Create it. Yes, the Logic app is ready on the other tab. So the other tab, but text is created on that. So this will take me to Logic Apps Designer, which is a canvas where I can easily do drag and drop and create a flow diagram. So what I'm trying to do is a Twitter, right? A tweet, when it is posted, I am actually trying to analyze it. So click on that. Okay, it's ready. Click on plus. It will ask you to connection type. Just type your name and default. Okay, sign in. So I'm letting it to sign in with my Twitter account. That's what I'm trying to do right now. So I'll put my username, password. I'll authorize the app. Right, so I'll click on continue. It's already connected to the Twitter. What is the hashtag it should be looking for? So create any hashtag of your choice. For now, I'm creating ATSM, which is actually something I always use. Okay, which has nothing to do with any of the organizations. So when I tweet, I will tweet with this hashtag so that my Twitter will be, tweets will be subjected to this analysis, right? And how often we have to check, let's say 15 seconds, every 15 seconds. Second. I need to add a parameter, time zone. I need to tell them where we are. Let me choose the local time. That's it. Go to the next step. So we have, first thing is we have connected to the Twitter. The second thing is what it needs to do. It needs to perform text analytics, right? So text analytics, as I mentioned, has entity detection, language detection, and so on. But what the one I'm interested in is detect sentiment analysis, right? So I'm choosing that. I need to give the connection name. I need to give the endpoint and key for text analytics. So here is my resource for text analytics. You can see ATSM TA for text analytics. On the left side, we have keys and endpoints. From there, I will choose the key, come back, paste it, and we have the endpoint here where I reach to that service. I'm pasting it here. Now I'm creating it. Right. So I need to add parameters, class for documents. I need to give some name. Let's say text analytics doc. What needs to be analyzed? It is the Twitter text that needs to be analyzed, right? So Twitter text is what I'm adding. And the preferred language is English. I'm keeping it as it is. Go to the next step. Now there are two steps done. One is I have connected to the Twitter, and from Twitter I take the tweet text and do some text sentiment analysis. Now where will I log in? Where will I log the analysis, right? So I'm giving the Google Sheets as the destination. So in that I will insert columns. So whenever a new analysis comes, it has to be made as a separate row, insert row, right? So I need to first authenticate the Google Sheets. Or we can say authorize. Right. So I'll choose my account. I'm allowing that my logic app can be connected to the Google account. It's taking longer than usual, but we will wait. Right. Okay, so I'll just show you the file, what I have created in the next tab, the Google Drive, so that you will have an idea of what are we trying to actually do. So in the Google Drive, I have created one file like this, a Google Sheet, which has three columns in it. One is text of the tweet and tweeted by whom, that's the username, and score. So the moment the analysis happens, it will get me three things: the text of the tweet and the tweeted by whom, the username, and the score. This is something it is created automatically by the app, Logic app. So I'm coming back here. So I'll try to give that destination file. It says Google Drive. Yes. In that Google Drive, I have two things. I'll go to the second one. This is the sheet. Okay, I'll click on that. Now, as part of that, what it needs to do is all three of them be populated. So I'm keeping all of them. So tweet text, what should be the tweet text or the text of the tweet, right? So that should be there in the tweet text column. Tweeted by whom is the username of the person. So I'm using that. And the score is about the numeric value. So I can just choose that score here, a decimal number between 0 and 1. So the process is insert a row every time after the analysis is done. So I hope you got the point. The first step is to connect to the Twitter. Second step is to do sentiment analysis. And third is to log the whole details into the Google files. So that is it. So I'll just save it. Click on save. It's done, right? So now we'll go to the Twitter. I'm already logged in. So I will type something. I'll just post it. It is wonderful service, right? I will add the hashtag ATSM and just click on tweet. Okay. So I myself have tweeted with 80 and run it so that it will analyze the tweet and log it into the Google Sheets. And just wait for a while. You can see the statement. It says it will take a while to run the sentiment. Now you see the tick marks, right? So all of them are done now. When you see all of them are tick marked, so you can go to the sheets, right? There is the answer. So it says it's a wonderful service, #ATSM. This was tweeted by my username. And see the score. It's 0.85. 0.85 indicates that this is your positive sentiment, right? Because it is 8.85 basically, right? So let's try out with a negative sentiment. And meanwhile, I request the users to just tweet anything with #ATSM, so that that will also come here being analyzed. I request one of you to please do that, or all of you to do it, so that we see that logging. Please tweet anything with #ATSM. It is not convenient, but it's not good one. #ATSM. I'll tweet it again. Let's see. I'll run it again. Right, all of them are tick marked now, so you can go back and see. Okay, so this is done. I request any one of you to please try with one tweet. Then you can delete it later, but for now you can try with one tweet with hashtag of #ATSM. So this is the score. You can see that this is 0.11. I've also made it as a color code. I guess it will be able to do that. Click on this. Yeah. So it says green for the positive sentiment and red for the negative sentiment. So this is so easy to create an app for yourself. So if you're a company or if you're an organization, create one logic app in the free service that you obtain with the free subscription, and keep it for some days and show them then how it is easy to create a sentiment analysis for your social media content that comes with your hashtag. So simple, right? So please give it a try. I hope you at least one try you can give. Can have one tweet with #ATSM. Let me see. Right, so we'll go back. That's great. That's great. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. So yeah, it's saying amazing presentation, right? So it's being analyzed. That is I think, yeah, this is the username. I can see that you have actually done it. Thanks a lot. I think you were able to grasp what exactly it is, right? Can you just rephrase it, typing I think this has to be done. I'll just run it again and see if some more are coming in. So nice of you. Thank you very much for that tweet. Right. Very nice. Thanks a lot for that. Okay. Any questions on this? Please post it in the chat. That will be nice. Okay. So you can delete your post if you want, so that you won't get it. Right. So that's it about the creation of a sentiment analysis using logic apps. Okay. So let's go back to our presentation. We're done with this. So there's one more thing that we can actually look into, called as the immersive reader. Okay, so this is a service which is wonderful in creating a better literacy amongst people of different abilities and different ages, right? So there are people of different ages with different abilities, right? Some people have the have less ability on vision part, right? Some people have on audio part, and so on. So to improve their literacy, for example, the small kids have learning problems, for example, dyslexia or something, right? So to improve on their literacy part, you can actually use immersive reader. So this is going to give you this type of feeling where the same text which we normally study on our regular documents, we can see it in this way with different colors, and some are being bold, some are being shown with illustrations like this, and some places you can even have audio for that particular thing and you don't know how to pronounce it, or sometimes you can even make fonts bigger and smaller for better visibility and so on. So all of them are put together as multilingual support, or we can say multi sensory support and so on, right? So put together it becomes one solution which will actually improve the literacy of people with different abilities, right? So that immersive reader is also a wonderful app that we have for the language support. Okay, so this you can go on your cognitive services page and have a look at it. Cognitive services, just type cognitive services in Google. You will go to the products page. Yeah, this is the product page. If you come down, here are the wonderful demonstrations of each of them: decision, language, speech, vision, web search, and so on. In the language part, we have immersive reader. Okay, I'm just going to show you. There's actually a wonderful video, but I think it's difficult to play it here. So I'm just keeping it here. I'm just reading out what is written over here. Empower users of all ages and abilities. It says boost users' reading and comprehension with a full set of proven literacy enhancing features. So basically, what they are is the literacy enhancing features offered by Immersive Reader, and engage users with multilingual and multisensory features like reading it loud, translating it to different languages, highlighting specific texts, and visualizing the meanings of the words through illustrations and so on. There's a wonderful video over here. Please do watch it at your time. So this is the wonderful service we have, apart from the regular text analytics and other things, right? So immersive reader is basically meant for the comprehension skills. Now, if you come a little bit down here, not here on the cognitive services page, you will see the customer stories and how they are using it, the details of what I mentioned, like KPMG or Volkswagen, Uber, and so on, right? So have a look at it at your convenience. So my friend will you paste the same thing in the chat window, the link for Azure Cognitive Services products page. I request my friend to paste the chat, same thing in the chat window. That's it. We are done with this part. Going ahead with the presentation. Now we are at a point where we will start talking about the vision part of the Azure. Okay, so let's see in the computer vision, what do we have to offer, right? So it's basically a pre-trained computer vision model, right? So all of these are basically the machine learning models working for giving the best experience with the visual content. For example, in visual content, we have stuff like tagging, right? We have tagged our friends many times on the social media posts, right? And if we see that automatic tagging also happens, and what is actually working in the back end of that? That is your computer vision service, or the service which is similar to the computer vision, right? So they are pre-trained models that are working in the back end with the Microsoft's own data, and we can say uh, the the proprietary data, we can say, right? So they are all pre-trained with optimal quality, with optimal performance, and we can have wonderful descriptions of the image. You can tag the image. You can see that there is a person here, there's a tagging done, and you can even recognize the face and tell what is the age of the person and what is that he's wearing and so on, right? So just by inputting one image, you generate enormous amount of information about that image and create a nice description out of it, right? It says, you can see the caption here, group of people walking on a sidewalk, right? That is the description. Now these type of services, okay, are useful when you are creating, let's say, you're creating an application for visually challenged, application for visually challenged, right? You already have these stuff in place, and you have something like a caption being created. If you can convert this text directly in real time to speech, then visually challenged people can listen to that audio and understand the scene in front of them, even if they are not seeing it through their eyes, but still you can help them do that, right? That's the wonderful application you can think of, one of the use cases of this. And of course, detecting the text inside the image, it's very important in some places, right? You actually you give a representative image, and by chance you see that you have something which is not expected in the back end, sorry, in the backside. So that again needs to be understood. OCR can help you for that, and so on. So we can actually do something like custom vision surveys, where you will actually train your own model instead of using the pre-trained model, right? I'm going to demonstrate one of them quickly to you. Probably I'll do the image classification part so that you'll be getting that idea of how it is done. If time permits, we'll actually go ahead with object detection as well. Right? This is something we can do with the pre-built custom vision portal. Okay, we'll do that. And we have wonderful face service. This is in addition to what computer vision does, but it gives you more information like facial attributes, right? The emotions, the age. Let's say you are in a meeting and you want people, you want to know who are annoyed in the image, in the meetings, who are actually angry, who are bored, who are actually sleepy, and so on. Then perhaps you need to do this facial attribute recognition, right? So that is a face service. Okay, it does facial attributes, facial landmarks, facial comparison, and it can do some recognition. If you feed some images in the beginning, then it will say, oh, this is this person XYZ, and so on, right? That's a wonderful service. It's a standalone face service you can use. This is in addition to what computer vision already does, like face recognition. Okay, that's the idea. Now, apart from that, we have just if you have something handwritten here and you want to convert it into a printed form, then you can extract and do it using computer vision service. That's called digital ink, handwritten to the printed form. Then we have forms like you have monthly forms with you, some 10 forms. You don't want to create, you don't want to type each of them. Instead, you want to extract the content in the key value form and make it as one document, one summary document, right? So if you want to do that, you can go ahead, try for form recognizer service of Microsoft. That will do it for you. And you can choose your destination format. It could be XLSX, or it could be docs, and so on, and create one summary for yourself. So basically, it's about extracting the content from the forms. Right. So one who is using it is the popular Uber service, which actually boosts the platform security with facial recognition. So you get inside a cab. The cab driver wants to know is the same person who is actually has booked the rather the expected person who is sitting inside, and you want to know the same driver is there who is actually taking you through a safe ride, right? So all of these are already there in the market. Endemol Shine, you have, it's a media a company where it uses Azure Media Analytics and the wonderful service called Video Indexer, like something like your big brother, or you can say big boss, right? These are the different, we can say the applications where they use it. They don't want to watch it 24/7, but instead what they do is they use the video indexer, choose the specific content what they want out of the video that is completely difficult to watch for 24 hours, right? So it can do that frame by frame extraction, indexing, and give it to you. That's a wonderful service. People are already using it. Now let's see the custom vision in action before we go to speech. I'll go back to the portal. I'll close the previous ones. So for custom vision, there is a separate portal called customvision.ai. My friend will paste it in the chat window. Customvision.ai. So for that, you need to run a service in the backend on the portal called as custom vision service, which I have already created to just save on time. Okay. So there is a service called CUV, which is my name, which is actually a user defined name. custom vision service in the backend. Okay. Now here we have the keys and endpoints for that service. If you want to use it, then this is the app, custom vision app, which actually connects to the Azure portal in the backend. Okay, now we will land on this page. Click on new project, enter some details for that. This is my first custom vision project. See, the same thing, TSM CUV, which is there on the backend, has been recognized here. I'm going to show you the classification task first and keep other things as it is. Create the project. Let's do that. I think, okay, let me try again. Did we go wrong? Let me give ATSM AI 900 CUV. That's the name. Some description. This is this. Create project. Some error it is throwing us. It says to may request message request being throttled. The limit has been right. Okay, let me try with the other one. I'll just refresh this. Take any one of them. Let's do object detection and see if it works. I think this is throwing me some error. I will try it at the end after this. That's slightly surprising to me. Let me just check with that. Let me log out for now. Just after one more that when I'm supposed to show. Let me go back to the speech part. Definitely I'll come back to this. Now in the speech service, okay, we have speech APIs being ready. Okay, as I was mentioning that there are places where we have to convert from speech to text and text to speech. If you want to look at it, one application where we need all of these, okay, I'll just give you an example of, let's say you are driving a car, let's say, and you are bored while driving. You just utter the word saying, hey, switch on music player for me, right? So what you utter, switch on music player, is the voice input or the text, or sorry, or the speech that comes in. Right now this speech has to be converted to the text, right? And from there it has to reach to the board or the dashboard or the AI agent, right? That is working for you. It has to process the text and perform the action. Action is switching on the music player or switching on AC, right? So basically there is a speech to text happening here. Now after text processing, of course action will be taken. Alongside, you want to also mention the action is already done, thank you. Then that could be speech back to the user, right? So there is your text to speech. So basically in one application you have both the things running, text to speech and speech to text at this point, which means that the speech services are inevitable part of any such AI driven application, right? So for processing, of course, you bring it to the form which is text, but speech is something that is we cannot escape from, right? So we require, and for that Microsoft has provided with a great resource called speech, which helps us in doing multiple synthesis. We have something called speech synthesis in text to speech, and different modes of conversion from speech to text in the background, like language model, universal model, pronunciation model, and so on, which help us do wonderful conversions in spite of having background noise and other stuff. So a lot of algorithms in the top class algorithms running in the backend that help us realize these type of applications as part of speech service, right? That's about speech. Now, just to summarize, we have text to speech in the first place, which is very popular. Speech to text, of course, for you can say for multiple applications which are voice based, right? For something like your Amazon Alexa or Google Home or Cortana, Siri, and so on. And translation, because you are basically dealing with people of multiple languages, right? Now, apart from speech, we have slightly a new addition to this family that is called as decision, right? So decision service is basically helping us in creating the best informed decisions for business health, right? The businesses are interested in making informed decisions. Why? Because people want to avoid any circumstances which will create embarrassment in the first place. That is where the content moderator comes. Or people want to decide on some things where they will uh, get affected with the business health. That is where the anomaly detector comes, right? And any other stuff where we want to create great user experience, where personalizer comes into picture. Okay, so there is an essential part of any decision making. You need to have one service which can help you in make informed decisions about the health of the about the business, which will eventually help you to maintain the health of the business, right? Just to give you an example, rather than being vague, for example, you are publishing something on your website, right? You are a big organization, and what you publish on your website becomes your liability, right? You need to finally stand by it, right? You cannot say by mistake we have published something which is offensive, right? When you say that you are the only person in the world who is making AI applications, then you are actually offending, right? So on the website, you need to avoid offensive content, adult content, racy content, and so on. These are to be definitely taken care of, which can bring a great embarrassment to the organization, right? So when you're publishing something on the public domain, you need to moderate it first, right? That is why uh, a content moderator is needed in that place. And this content moderator could be a text moderator, or what you publish could be text, or what you publish could be image, so image moderator, or it could be sometimes a video, like we saw it on the Microsoft website for the the immersive reader. There was a video, right? So that video or text or image or any multimedia for that matter, combination of any of these should not be kind of offensive in any sense, right? So for that you require content moderation in the first place. And apart from that, let's say you are on the production line, and your production line has sensors deployed all over in the IoT sensors, right? And they are constantly collecting data from the production line and giving you the report on the health of the production line, let's say. And by what is called as the analytics that happens, right, at the edge of that IoT solution. By that, if you get to know that there is a possibility of this getting an error on the production line, and there's a possibility of you getting the loss due to that, okay, or there's going to be a breakdown in the line or something like that. If you foresee that in advance, then you can actually act upon it without being in the hassle while the actual problem has occurred, right? So you can act upon very well in advance compared to doing things rather knowing things afterwards after the problem has occurred, right? So anomaly detector will help you do that, do rather help you understand things well in advance and act for the same thing. Okay, that's the advantage of anomaly detector. This is again a part of the decision services that cognitive services offer to us. Apart from that, we have a great personalizer thing which works on reinforcement learning, rather. Okay, so reinforcement learning is all about reward and uh, we can say uh, you do something and you get rewards out of that. So for example, it will suggest to me some merchandise online, and I feel that the merchandise is not something of my choice, then I will say don't show me that. So next time it will learn from that reward that you didn't like it or you disliked it, and it will not show you that again. It will go for some other recommendation to you. So this is how a reinforcement learning loop works behind a personalizer to create a great personalizer for you, like a wonderful digital assistant, right? So these are part of your decision services. And the last part of the cognitive services is the search. Now search is today the search is almost like has become an integral part of any service that we have, right? This can work individually or it can be part of any other applications, right? For example, in the next part we will talk about Q&A maker bot, chatbot, Q&A maker chatbot, and we will see that actually search is working behind, right, where it is going to search the question answer pair for the chatbot from what is known as knowledge base, right? So what I'm trying to say is the cognitive search or intelligent search is either a separate service which is used like any other search engines out there, okay, or it could be part of some applications like a Q&A maker service and so on, right? And at a high level, if you see, it uses the Bing search as its main search engine, right, which is offered by Microsoft, right? So we have news search, we have video search, web search, image, custom search, entity, and so on. Auto suggest is something that is there everywhere. Every search engine has it. The moment you start typing something, you will get the suggestions out there to reduce your effort and so on, right? So that's there. The interesting part is the visual search. Your friend is wearing a shirt, let's say, and you are very much interested in that. You take a picture of it and just search for similar items on the cart, rather on the online shopping websites. Then you will see a number of suggestions for you along with the price tag, so that you can go ahead and do the shopping within seconds, right? You see a wonderful merchandise today, and within next day you are getting it because you order on the same day using the visual search. And if somebody wants to set up a local business and wants to understand who is there already in the business and who is the player in the game, and based on that take some action or decision which will affect the business setup, then Bing search is again helping you for that. So I'm just highlighting the ones which are very very different from what is being offered with the regular search engines. So cognitive search, or we can say Bing search, or we can say intelligent search, is completely very advanced today and has lot of things to offer as far as the different applications are concerned. Okay, that's it about the search part as well. Now we will come to an important part called as Azure Machine Learning. But before that, okay, let me complete this part and then go to that if time permits. Then, what is machine learning? Azure Machine Learning, it's a platform, a cloud-based platform for machine learning, as I was mentioning. Now, what does it have? Is a subscription, like I was mentioning it to you. Then in that you are going to create a workspace. A workspace is something like a toolkit in which you will have stuff for compute, the data, the experiments, the models, and the services working together, rather packed in one complete workspace or toolkit from which you can choose and do some wonderful stuff on that. Now, what could be the problem like? The problem will be like, let's say, how much is this car worth? Let's say somebody wants to ask that. Now, let's say I'm running a used car showroom and I want to know the car price prediction. I will take the image of this and I want to check how much is the car worth, right? So with the pre-trained model, let's say on Azure. Now, if you want to create a model for that, it is so time consuming because you need to look at what features I need to choose, whether it's a mileage, condition, car brand, or year of making, or regulations, what it is. Okay, I'm done with the feature extraction. Let's say I've chosen some subset of these features to decide on that. But you will also need to talk about what is the algorithm that I need to use. Okay, you need to be super, let's say, expert to decide on the algorithm so quickly. But what if you don't? If you are stuck with between two algorithms and you are not able to find one specific solution to that, then that could be a challenge. And which are the parameters you need to choose, and so on. So by then you decide, by the time you decide on each of them, it will be consuming a lot of time. Instead, what you can do, Microsoft Azure gives you benefit of automated machine learning, where it will take away your hard work of deciding on these parameters. What you do is input your data and get your results. That's it. So it's like feed in and take out from the black box. Okay. So this box will take care of all the stuff, right from deciding on which algorithm to run, what are the parameters, what is the feature extraction, and so on. Everything is taken care by automated machine learning. That is the wonderful service offered by Microsoft Azure. Apart from this, we have, let's say this is again the detailed view of AutoML. Now, apart from that, you have something called as Machine Learning Designer, which is again very interesting service, right? If you don't want to, if you don't want to give all the control to the machine learning or automated ML, but you still want to do some ML stuff based on your expertise and your knowledge, then you can perhaps go for using a designer, right? And from that designer, you are going to create a machine learning pipeline out of it. The pipeline looks like this. This is like a flow diagram you can see. You will choose your data set, you will do some data cleaning on that, and data feature extraction, and choose your algorithm. You can see that this is a two-class logistic algorithm, a logistic regression, and then you train it and you test it, score it, evaluate, and let's go ahead with that. Once you are happy, there is a button called publish. You will just click on publish. Then your ML model is available. You can ask your friend to check how it is performing, all that, right? So it is so easy to drag and drop. It's all about creating on the canvas, like your Azure app, Logic apps, what we did. This is similar to that. You are just dragging things and dropping it to the canvas one by one and connecting them together suitably, right? So you either go for automated ML like this, or you can go for the machine learning designer. Either ways, it is extremely simple to perform this activity and get your machine learning done within few clicks. Okay, let's look at the demonstration of machine learning along with the chatbot. Okay, so bots are very popular. Of course, you know about it. Okay, but before we go into that, we will just check for whether the customer vision is working for you. Okay, what I will do is I will just open it in a new browser. I will customer vision .ai. Sign in. I'm sorry, it takes time on that. Okay, so let me try it on the regular browser. Television.ai. Okay, so it's giving me some error today. Maybe that's okay. That's due to, I think, it has exceeded the number of hits there. Okay, let it be. Okay, let's anyway, we are left with a little time, so we'll take up the Q&A maker bot, and if time permits, we'll come back to this again. Okay, so we'll talk about bots quickly. A solution that enables you to do a dialogue between an AI agent and a human being is the conversational AI, basically, right? So the other AI applications like vision or speech and other stuff are definitely with the gadgets, and it's between it's not like a dialogue between you and a chatbot. But when you talk about an AI agent talking to you back when you ask a question, then it's like a dialogue between you, and that creates a sort of conversation between yourself and the AI stuff, right? The AI agent. So those are called as bots today, and they are the I hope you will agree if I say they are the most popular applications of AI today. What we have here, right? So they can be connected to the web chat interfaces, the email platform, the social media, and so on. I'm going to show you one example connecting to one of the channels and show you that. Right. So next is the what is that bot is working, why the bot is so simple to create, because Azure has created a wonderful service on the shelf called as bot service, which actually gives a connection between, on this side, the channels or the user interface, on this side the cognitive services, and there is the bot service in the between, in the middle of that, right? So this is going to give us a very comfortable a platform where we can create the chatbots in just few clicks. So it's integration with Lewis and Q&A Maker and other services that they are going to we are going to use it. Okay, I'm going to show you one example of Q&A Maker. So here what we do is we have the FAQ documents, right? we have, let's say, the support documents, we have manuals if you are a product seller, and so on. So what if I put all of them in one place in the form of question answer pair, okay, called as knowledge base, and connect this to a bot, right? So bot can directly pick the question answer pair. You are asked with the bot is asked with a question, and it will pick a suitable answer from this knowledge base and give you back. If this can happen, then this is going to reduce a lot of help desk calls, let's say, or self you are asked to find out the answer by yourself in the FAQ section, and if you see that there are 1,000 FAQs, then what will you do, right? The search would not also help you at times. So instead of that, if a bot is enabled with such a knowledge base, then bot is going to reply you back within seconds. So that is the rationale behind Q&A maker service. So this is wonderful service. It's available on a portal called Q&A maker portal. Let's see that and create one chatbot in a minute. I hope this will work for us. Okay, I'm just clicking on Q&A maker AI. My friend will paste the same link in the chat window, qnamaker.ai. This is a specific app, and for this we need to create a Q&A maker service in the backend. So I have created a service in the backend for Q&A maker. So I'll show you how it is easy to create an application or a chatbot within few clicks. Okay, so there is something in the backend. Let's see. Okay, so let me just do it again. I thought I'll create it right in front of you, so I didn't create it in advance because this is the DSM Q&A 1, 2, 3, 4. Pricing tier, US, then basic. Let's choose basic or even free is okay. 3, 4 East US is fine. Let's go ahead and create it. Create. I just log out and just logging back. Take your maker service. Right. I got the idea. So why that also did not work earlier. So free is over. Let's go to the standard one. Let's go to the basic. Yes, that's the reason. Let's review and create it back. That could be the case with custom vision as well. So meanwhile, we will search for an FAQ document. Okay. So we have to create. So what are we trying to basically do is we are trying to create one knowledge base from multiple sources, right? Let's say you are an insurance company and you want to create FAQ documents. Let's say you have FAQ documents at multiple places. Okay. Now you want to bring all of them together and make one knowledge base created and connect them to a bot, right? That is very easily doable with this. I'm going to show you that. We're going to show, let's say, Microsoft FAQs. Do you have one thing called as frequently asked questions on Microsoft page? Let's click on that. Yes, we do have questions on Windows. Of course, Windows has a lot of questions here. Sorry. Yeah. So each of those questions have answer to that, right? And the other one is the Office 365. Okay, so this page has FAQs. Let's keep it ready. Go back to this, sign into this. Right. Okay, it says this is the Q&A maker service page, and it says you currently have no knowledge bases created because I have not yet started doing that. Okay, so there's an option for create knowledge base on top. You can click on that. So once you click, there are 5 steps in creating that. Let's do that. First step is to create a service, which we have done here. Your service is ready. And the second step is to give the details, subscription, service. Right, it takes time to reflect it here. That's okay. So I'll just show you the service here. It has keys and endpoints being ready. This is my service Q&A ATSM Q&A 1234. Let me just do that. Let me refresh this so that it will be able to identify the service in the backend. Yeah, it says retry selecting the service after 10 minutes. So it actually requires time when you create for the first time. In the backend, it has to connect, right? So this will take some time. Okay, so meanwhile, you can just look into the FAQ documents. Okay, there are FAQs on even the government agency platforms. Like if you say go to Make in India or any other service portal, there you have the FAQ documents. You can try one of them and create the Q&A maker service for yourself. Please stay tuned. I'll just show you in just another 2 minutes. Yes, it's working now. So language I need to select, that's English. I need to name it as ATSM 1234 KB. KB stands for knowledge base. I need to populate the step number 4 is to populate the KB. I need to paste the URL where I'm interested in. So this is the URL, Microsoft FAQ documentation page. So I'm pasting that URL here. That's done. Right. So chit chat, I need to select professional. This is actually giving you some extra question answer pairs. Okay. Because you don't directly ask a specific question to a bot. You will first say hi, hello, right? So just to handle such questions, you need to have a chit chat in addition to the URL part. Okay. So in addition to this URL, I'm going to add a professional chit chat because it's a professional bot. So I'm going to click on create KB. So my knowledge base is getting created now. Yeah, this will create. Yes. So we are done here. Okay, so wait for it to appear. The knowledge base is created. You can see that there are 116 question answer pairs, right? From how do I find my Windows product key, or we can say what is the Windows 7 product key, and so on. If you want to add your own pair and understand that it's working for you also, so you can just go ahead and click on add a Q&A pair and just say namaste, which is usually not there in the chat. So I will say, what should be the reply back? Namaste, how can I help you? I'm just giving you one different example. So how can I help? Right. So just this is your question and this is your answer. New pair you have added. So once you're satisfied with adding the question answer pairs, you just click on save and train. So it's training in a minute. So in spite of taking some time to reflect on the Q&A maker service, it's still just taking, it has taken only 5 to 6 minutes or 8 minutes. So I'm just showing you in another 2 minutes how we can create. So it's all trained now. You can test it locally. There is a test button over here, but I don't do that. I'll just go ahead and publish it so that I will connect it to a bot. Okay, so I'm publishing it again. Yes, it's done now. So I'll click on, once you're publishing it, it will give you the endpoint where you can reach to that knowledge base, or else there is an option for creating a bot from there itself. So if you click on create bot, it will take you to Azure portal, right? So let's go there. Give some name, bot handle. So it's like ATSM QNA BOT1234, so that you can uniquely identify it. Then would have it, okay, all of fine. So here pricing tier, I'll take the free, or let's go with the premium one, no problem, so that we don't end up in problems. All of the stuff you can keep it as it is and just click on create. It's validating, it's creating a bot which is directly connected to the Q&A maker service and the knowledge base we created just now. Okay, let's hope for the quick deployment so that I can show it to you in action before. Right. Okay, so we are done with almost all deployments. Okay, it's ready. So I'll go to source resource. Sorry. So this is on the left side. You can see the bot profile, configuration, channels, and so on. So you can test it in the first place in the web chat. So mind you, just I have taken 10 minutes in spite of that. I think that free tire problem, but still we are able to quickly deploy this bot in just 10 minutes. So if you cut down on that, if you already have the service running, then it would have taken less than 6 minutes or so. So it just a matter of 5 to 10 minutes, you'll be able to create a bot. You will see that this is the chat. This is the test chat in the web chat. So it's saying hello and welcome. I will say namaste and see if my reply comes back. Namaste, how can I help? That's wonderful. I will say I want to buy Windows 10. You will see that it will pick from the FAQ section, knowledge base, and then answer you. Yes, it's answering you. If you are looking for MSDN products, please visit this portal, right? I want license, let's say, license key, let's say. What it answers you back? Yes. So it's actually picking from this website, right? This website. When I ask questions from here, you are able to create a bot. Now let's quickly connect this to a channel of our choice. and show you that as one of the best ways to access your bot, right? On the channel, there are multiple options. You can have Teams and the third party like Telegram. I'll choose the Telegram one, right? And you need to actually have an access token for that. So you open Telegram, desktop app. Sorry, so Telegram is here. Okay, so we have search for as bot father, which is the place where we can create the bot, right? Let's start it. I can say a new bot, right? I need to give the name for that. ATSM bot 1234. Okay, and we need to call it as a give a username. Let's say ATSM bot ATSM 1234 bot, which would end in bot. So giving bot name. It's done. So if there is an access token to that, let's copy this. Sorry, I guess this is the access token. Okay, and let's connect to it here. Save it. Right. So just come out of this, go to the channels back. You will see that it's already connected with Telegram. It's running. So get the embed code. So just copy this HTTP link and run it in a new tab. So ATS1234 bot is ready to use. You can see that. And just start and say namaste, and you will see that same thing will come up here as well. How can I help? Okay, I want to buy Windows 10. Let's see what response comes back. Yes, license key. Yes, so it's working. You can see that your bot is created from the FAQ documents and it is connected to Telegram, Teams, or anything of your choice. That's it. That's about the demonstration part. We are at the last part, that's called democratizing AI. So Microsoft is putting a great effort in creating a world-class Microsoft Azure AI solution and making it to reach every corner of the world, and so that every business unit, be it very small, a very primitive business or anything, is enabled with AI capabilities. So that is the idea behind having the Microsoft AI Azure uh, in place as services, right? So we can see it is conquering the almost all parts of the world and almost all parts of the life. That's from agriculture, right from agriculture to neuroscience to education to art and culture and so on. And in a way, we are trying to democratize and let everyone use it for their uh, greatest challenges that they are facing and solve it for their life. We have heard of a Japanese farmer who has used image classification for himself for cucumber, or finding out the freshness, sorting it based on the freshness, or we can say the shape, the size, the color, and so on. And if the farmers start using AI, then that is the best example of what we can say as democratizing AI. With so much of power in the AI comes the responsibility. You have to avoid this from your keeping these principles in mind. You need to be fair enough for considering all the genders, all the ethnic people, and so on. And you need to be extremely reliable and safe when you are, especially examples like your safety on car, automated car without a driver display. You need to be extremely careful, which can be a life threat, right? And of course, the data is involved everywhere, and the privacy comes as the paramount importance. I need to take care of the privacy part extremely well. And you need to include every part of the society. It could be socially weak, socially strong, or socially somewhere they're not connected to the social world at all. You need to include all of them and make it available to all of them, right? So with transparency, you are actually meaning that you're telling what AI can do plus what AI cannot do, right? So you need to always mention that what is it something we cannot do with this particular AI application. That is called as transparency. And if something goes wrong with the AI applications, who is accountable? That also we need to be careful. And if you can answer this question, you have an answer ready, then you are actually ethically performing the AI tasks and you are making it available to the world. So with these principles in mind, we will extremely being careful. We will extract the power of AI and make it usable for the humankind. Thank you for joining. I hope you had a great session on AI fundamentals, especially with the Azure as an example of how Microsoft is giving you the best of the AI free, applications and solutions with minimal effort and with a few clicks here and there. You'll be able to start and quickly spin up one AI applications. Okay, so I hope this was joyful for you, and I'm extremely delighted that we were able to share some things on these AI fundamentals. Thank you for joining. We'll see you again.
तो क्या हुआ अगर हर दिन कुछ नए सलीके सिखाती है जिंदगी? हम सब अपने तरीके बदलना जानते हैं, हर रंग में नए ढंग से ढलना जानते हैं. तो क्या हुआ अगर स्कूल और क्लासरूम के दरवाजे फिलहाल बंद हैं? हम नए दौर का नया इतिहास लिखने लगे, घर बैठे पढ़ने और पढ़ाने का हुनर सीखने लगे. तो क्या हुआ अगर हमने दूरियां बनाकर रख ली अपने नजदीकी रिश्तों में? हमारी सेहत को महफूज रखा है सफेद लिबास पहने फरिश्तों ने. तो क्या हुआ अगर बाजार की रफ्तार ठहर गई, रुक गई? कुछ लोगों ने हमारी रोज की जरूरतों को संभाल लिया है, कारोबार करने के नए दौर में खुद को ढाल लिया. नए तकनीक ने हमें इतना काबिल कर दिया, अपना हौसला हुनर अपना पहचान गए हैं. हम बूंद नहीं समंदर हैं, अब ये बात हम जान गए.
कई लोगों के सपने जिन कंधों पे टिके हों, उन कंधों को मजबूत रखना हम जानते हैं. इनकी उम्मीदों की जमा पूंजी को सेफ रखना हम जानते हैं. 50,000 स्क्वायर फुट की फैक्ट्री अपने 2 बेडरूम के घर से चलाना हम जानते हैं. नौ से 5 की नौकरी के बाद 5 से 9 वाला बिजनेस भी करना हम जानते हैं. किसी के ब्राइट फ्यूचर के लिए फ्यूचर का इस्तेमाल करना.
Dear Ms. Sharma, we are pleased to offer you the position of senior analyst in our organization.
हम जानते हैं. हम आज का इंडिया है बॉस, और इतना तो सब मानते हैं कि हम रुकना नहीं जानते हैं.